Yeah, and yeah, everyone, this is Thermite, and these are the end-of-year jump rankings for 2024. If you're just finding my channel now in 2025 or beyond, I do reactions to Weekly Shonen Jump every week, not to the whole magazine, but to a selection that I read on channel. I actually do read a lot of the other series on, in Jump off-channel as well. There's a couple that I've excluded just for the sake of being like, oh, maybe I'll do this, maybe I won't. I think I gotta finally bite the bullet and just read Yozakura Family off channel. There's no way I'm reading it because yeah, I'll be going through every series that put out chapters in 2024. So if it ended in 2024 and it was running before, that's in here. If it started in 2024 and ended in 2024, it's in here. If it started in 2024 and it's continuing, it's in here. We've made the decision to also, even though RuriDragon technically isn't a Jump series now, it's still in here. It is the most, this is a Jump series, but just, it's in digital Jump, but it's still a weekly Shonen Jump series. It's not even like it moved to Jump Plus. So, very, very excited to go into that. Even for series that I haven't read enough of, I've got a little place there for that. We've got, of course, The One, which is The One for 2024. I think I might, rank everything, and then at the very end choose who The One is. But yeah, so we've got our normal tiers from A to F. There's a didn't read enough tier and a haven't read tier, which makes sense. There's a couple of 34 series have qualified for this tier list. Of those, I think I've read 30 that are qualified, and then there's 4 that either need to be in didn't read enough or haven't read. We'll see, though. As we go through this, more might actually crop up, but there's 4 for sure that that I know for a fact I should not speak on. I'll have a little segment for those, just to talk about, I don't know, what I've heard about them, maybe? First of all, also, we've got the tier lists, and then we've got a bunch of tabs in which I'm going to jump to the various series, and we can talk about them. This is the current cover of Jump this is the first Jump cover of 2025, which I'm not going to lie, I'm very worried about it. I'll cover this when I do these chapters, which also, to be fair, I'm recording this at the, 2 weeks into 2025, so I'm not going to, go up to the most recent chapter, because I have not read the most recent chapter. I am still in 2024. I have not taken the step into 2025 besides seeing this cover when I was, pulling up all these tabs. But I need to say, every other year, the cover at the start of the year, the official, this is the start of the new year, big spread with everyone on it, it's always hey, we're going to a festival, or we're screwing around, we're having a good time. What the fuck? Jump is feeling dire for 2025. So, we'll see. Yeah, I'll go into the breakdown later on. There's a lot of stuff here that I might come back to, because I do think this also sums up a little bit of, the current selection right now, at the end of 2024. Let's see what's going on with One Piece back in chapter 1103. This was somewhere in Egghead. Oh, I'm sorry, Daddy. Okay, yeah. I know what this one is. Actually, this doesn't get into the punch, but the punch is right after this, I believe. Yeah. Rearing up for the punch. So yeah, the segment I am judging includes the punch. It includes the entire exit from Egghead. We get the big knot snap, and then we get all the shit we've been doing, going into Elbaf. Also, I probably should have said spoilers for all of these. It's pretty apparent. I'll include, these spans here in the timestamps down below. So I think it'll be pretty clear. If you don't want to hear about One Piece 1103 to 1134, don't watch this. This has been a fucking hell of a year for One Piece. Last year had a lot of twists, but I do think Elbaf, going into Elbaf has been some of the most fun I have had with One Piece in a while. Egghead was good, but I personally didn't feel that fun with it. Even though, like, I like retro stuff and whatnot. It felt very much like a veneer. It was a real, like, this is the kind of stuff we're doing on the Silence, and now we're mainly going to focus on, like, like the intrigue of who is the, like, who is the traitor and whatnot, and, like, a big lead up into the big talk on the Void Century, which was still mostly, like, putting pieces together. There was some information that was extremely, extremely important, but even then, like, all that was last year. This year, like, we got the big payoff of the Kuma stuff, which was extremely, extremely cathartic. We got, like, the entire ending bits. We got a little more intrigue into the past, but I feel like this has been mainly a year of, like, building up to Elbaf. Including, the mystery of, like, like, the Straw Hats wake up in this big Lego area, and it's like, is this Elbaf? It doesn't look like what we've seen, but we've only seen, like, the tiniest glimpses. Maybe this is, like, a main area in Elbaf. What's going on? And then we see what's actually going on. It's been so fun. And the most recent couple of chapters have been, annihilating me as someone who loves Robin. She's still, like, my maybe number 2 or number 3 favorite character. Like, Chopper is still number 1. But, definitely, when she met Saul again, I was a diehard Robin fan again. She was number 1 again. I was crying on stream. God, I mean, it was so good. I genuinely don't think I have cried on camera for One Piece, at least, in, like, all of my reactions. So everything I have ever recorded, I'm fairly sure I have never cried during One Piece, even though it is, it's such an emotional series. The chunk that I have read on, like, like, over the course of these years, nothing really hit me that hard. But yeah, God. Like, it's also just cool to see, truly, like, it felt like the Oda magic once more. The real, like, yes, this person survived, yeah, you can quibble about it if you want, but ultimately, it's worth the payoff. Is that, like, everything is worth this payoff, everything is worth this moment. We kind of bookended the year with that, honestly. Like, the big Kuma punch being the first, like, like, your entire suffering, your entire existence may be worth it for this moment of catharsis, and then ending this year with, again, like, Robin's entire existence, entire suffering. Like, maybe it wasn't worth it specifically for this, but this definitely helps a lot to, to finally say, you know what, she has a happy ending that isn't just, oh, I found friends, oh, I'm sailing the world, I moved on with my life, but also a true, like, for someone who loses everything, it's nice to get something back, even if it's just one thing. If this fucking world can give you one thing back, that really is the feeling I had from Robin. Like, same with her getting the haircut again. So that's all could see her again. It also felt like a real, like positive regression. This moment of, like, I'm doing this because I want to, like, inhabit this time, like, before all the bad shit happens. It's been a tragedy up until now, but now finally, like, this can be a moment of healing, of mending, of, like, looking back on it again, and, like, saying directly, please just praise me, just, say good things about me. But yeah, great stuff. Like, even though the year before was technically, like, we got more information about the world, I do think this year was just more of what I like about One Piece. It felt more like, an adventure as well. Like the start of Elbaf. It's so cool that in a setting where, it should have been such an easy cakewalk of, like, the Straw Hats have everything given to them, we're good, we're fine, we know Hajuden, it's gonna be okay. We still got an intro that felt so strange and exciting and off-kilter and, like, what the fuck is going on? Luffy got another power-up. He is addicted to getting power-ups slightly off-screen. It's insane. This boy will never level up in a way we can understand. But yeah, so honestly, One Piece, I think this was a banner year for One Piece. It's going right today. Also, big thanks to Houmii for also doing the first volumes of all these series, so I can somewhat more easily glance at them, or, like the cover of Jump if they don't have a new series, or, like, an actual volume 1 yet. But yeah, like, it's easy to tell what's going on, who is what. I cannot describe to you the number of tier lists I've gone through where I've looked at the images and it's like, I might recognize some of these people, but I don't know if I recognize them because these pictures are so small and shitty. I think the iconic nature of these more or less makes up for it. We'll see when we get into the end of the list, when it's a lot of the series that I don't quite recognize as well. We'll see. Anyways, moving on to Hunter x Hunter. So this was, of course, like another, Togashi came back for a volume. It's exactly what I wanted. I'm pretty sure in my reaction to 401, I was like, listen, we've seen drafts up to like 425 or whatever, but I just want a volume. I know he's going to come back and just do a volume, and that is fine. Because he came back and he did a volume, and it fucking slapped. Like, this chapter, of course, introducing a whole faction immediately off the bat, coming right off of from the spider flashback into, hey, by the way, here's kind of what Beyond's been getting up to, but still a bunch of other shits. Leading into, like a little more of the grind work, a little of the, seeing everyone reconnect, seeing the, Kurapika's, connections, seeing the not the outside, what is that again? The area between the hull of the ship and the interior of the ship where people live, seeing the grimy dirt, the machinery behind the dazzling black whale. And then, of course, the most recent four-parter, I think, is the highlight, the bit that I've been pogging over, everyone's been pogging over. Negotiation. Truly, we got so much on Morena. We really started off with, what if we focus on one of Zerendich's friends, one that you probably vaguely recognize, and we ended it with she is the main character. She's so important. She's pivotal. Also, the two of them might together be one of the greatest ships in all of Hunter x Hunter. It's crazy. It's insane. When Hunter x Hunter is finally over, and people are watching the 2059 anime that finally covers everything, they're gonna look at us old fogies and be like, what the fuck? Why is everyone so hype about this one episode? Because I feel like they might be able to distill it down to one episode. But we'll understand that it was so fucking hype. Holy shit. I do think this, these 10 chapters are Togashi at his best. It's a little of everything. It is political intrigue. It's cool nen abilities. It's, building out character relationships. It's, extremely, extremely detailed, gorgeous art. And then it's also super, unrefined, sketchy art that gives off an incredible, powerful feeling. I think 410 has some really, really good, emotional arts. Yeah. Morena's big flex here, I think, is, iconic. Super, super, super iconic. But yeah, in general, on the channel, Hunter x Hunter has been a really fun time as I've rediscovered my love of it. Definitely during the super big 2016 2015 hiatus, I think. I had forgotten a lot of the series. I had also caught up in a very non-mindful way. And I have gone over the series again, and especially this time around, I properly reread everything past Chrollo versus Hisoka, and that was a very, very, very good experience. Because, when you read it all together, truly, Hunter x Hunter is literature. And I think these 10 chapters really exemplify that. They are going. It is so fun. And it is still so, it's so complicated. Yet, once you wrap your mind around the characters, if you're properly thinking about it, if you're not just skimming through it, the depth to everyone is so exciting. Plus, I think it does help. I've definitely tried my crack at a couple of, stories with tons and tons and tons of people. Someday I will challenge the Three Kingdoms, but I'm nowhere near that level. This year, I recently read 100 Years of Solitude, and I think I didn't bring that up a lot in Hunter x Hunter because there's no real, direct relation, but I do think that definitely helped broaden my mind in terms of comprehending characters. Because I'm a big scaredy cat when it comes to big casts, which of course is a problem with any shonen series, naturally. I chose to make an entire YouTube channel based on a genre that is all about, for the most part, series with tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of people. And yet, having to deal with a series, something like 100 Years of Solitude, which is tons and tons of people, but also all of them have, the same names, but they're all extremely different people. It's extremely important to know who was where. It broke my brain a little bit, and by the time I came back to Hunter x Hunter, it's what we have, 14 princes? I was looking at the big flowcharts from 4chan, and it's you know what, this makes sense now. This doesn't feel crazy. I can look at this and be no, I get all these people, actually. But I do think it also helps that, the super big spread, it has been very manageable chapter by chapter for Hunter x Hunter. Like, we've had, like, every time we transition to another area, we have a clear, like, indication of, like, this is the plot we're doing. Okay, do you remember these guys? Okay, we're going into these guys. And, again, negotiation is one of my favorite arcs, maybe in Hunter x Hunter, in part because it's literally just two people. Like, only two people matter in it. And so it's also, like, so engaging for that reason. It is a gigantic delve into Morena as a character and into, like, the dark side of Kakine. We spent so long before this establishing the idea of, like, Kakine is like a tree that has branches and roots. And the branches are the royals, but the roots are also the royals in a sense. Like, like the underworld is still populated by, the second track fakers, by, people who should be royals and who essentially are royals, in all but name. They still get special privileges. They're allowed to commit crime, quote unquote, but in a way that's clearly more of a, like, release valve for the country, where, like, if the government allows you to do crime, is it really crime? Like, what is the difference between a police officer executing someone and, like, a mafioso who is in tight with the government executing someone as well? If they're both doing it, with the justification of, oh, I'm protecting the peace, I'm, like, I'm trying to maintain stability and order, I have the right to do this. It's like, with all of that, it's very fun to also have someone like Morena, who is the ultimate dark side, the ultimate person who is just outright jokering it, who's like, yeah, guess what? Even within this realm, I'm an actual criminal. I am pretending to be Morena Prudo. I'm someone else. And that's fine. Like, I'm going to destroy the entire world, but I'm going to do it in a way where, like, through this whole negotiation game, part of her expressed intent was to perform a convincing argument, to be able to say, by the end of this, you'll understand enough about me to decide, like, should you join my side? And I think it is extremely, extremely satisfying to do a whole arc that is that. Like, even though Borkson herself is not swayed, we see the amount of sway that, like, is put into her. Like, the ending bit where she is, like, negotiating in, I think the chapter right before this, where she is saying directly, like, is there anything I can say to sway you from this path? Is there anything I can do? Like, she is looking for a reason to, like, to maybe go 50-50, to maybe stay here. And when it's fully confirmed, she's like, all right, I'm gonna leave. But it's done, even then, in such a clean way, in a way where, the game itself takes over in the final chapter. And even here, I was so confused, genuinely. And I mean, Morena was also confused, genuinely. With something like Hunter x Hunter, it's extremely easy to go super in depth with it because we had 10 chapters. This one, we had, literally 10 chapters this year. But each one of those chapters fucking slapped. I do think that creates an interesting, like, a balancing issue when it comes to a tier list like this, and that's, a series that is running for more of the year has more chances to fuck up. But I do think it also helps that there is more of a building factor. Like, a series that, has more to it can also, like, even if I'm only ranking, for instance, the Hunter x Hunter chapters that came out in this year, like, the strength of the Kuma chapters is reliant on all of One Piece in the past. So naturally, like, it has more stability underneath it. It has more that it can use. It has greater resources in this fight. Whereas something that is, putting out fewer chapters like Hunter x Hunter has, even then, it still has way fewer resources than something like One Piece. It still has resources, but also, it can't win with overwhelming force. It doesn't have enough, it doesn't have a ton of chances to impress me. Each chance has to count. I think the difference is definitely that, like, there's plenty of One Piece chapters that don't really wow me that much, like, it's still a series I adore, but, like, it's not a 10 out of 10 to me every single time. There are parts of it that are 10 out of 10. There's parts that, like, dip down and then they balance out and they end up somewhere around, like, an 8 or a 9. Still unbelievably high, still, truly incredible manga. But whereas with Hunter x Hunter, I feel like the dips are way, way, way lesser. Like, pound for pound, chapter by chapter, Hunter x Hunter is, like, more impressive than One Piece. I know a lot of the time, what people do is, like, if it's closer to the left on a tier list, it's higher up. Even if by the nature of a tier list, it's more, like, the sideways, it's more, like, horizontal. I think I'll do that for this one. So, like, you guys do it by, like, order at which I've put them on. But I think this probably makes more sense. So yeah, like, I'd be saying here, Hunter x Hunter this year was better than One Piece this year. which is a monumental thing to say. Again, I'm already double guessing it based on 10 chapters. Speaking of, not that many chapters, next we've got My Hero Academia. So starting off here, like, it's a shaky place to be. This is like midway through this is in like the bottom quarter of Deku versus Shigaraki. So honestly, a lot of chapters I'm not insanely into. Like, I do think the ending of My Hero in general, like, yeah, going through here, like, yeah, this is going essentially from the Mount Fuji fight, from Shigaraki going, I'm gonna blow up Mount Fuji, to the end of the series. So that's pretty easy to, I think, track. We had, when Deku went full Carnage mode, the fight in the mind, and then, of course, like, the eventual big team up against All for One. Yeah, it's, like, I do think the execution was pretty darn good. Like, it's not 10 out of 10. But I do think it's pretty damn strong. Like, I think Horikoshi does not get enough credit for, like, putting together an ending that I think is still, like, it's much better than something like the end of Naruto. The pieces are very strong. Even if I wish, like, it had more time to be fleshed out, if Horikoshi wasn't dying, if we had, like, more pages per chapter, that's really it. Like, I just want, what we already had, but I want it to be fleshed out a bit more. I know some people were just not down with, the ending as a whole, chapter by chapter. And so I don't think there's much that could have been done to fix that. But as just as an ending to My Hero Academia, I really, really liked what we were doing here. Also, the fact that we have, like, at least half a volume of epilogue, if not, like, essentially a full epilogue of volume. Yeah, of course we wouldn't have the cover for it yet. But yeah, I know also there's, like, an extended epilogue that theoretically has come out. Has it come out yet? I don't know. It's definitely not out officially. I don't believe it's out unofficially either. I think it was just announced there would be more pages. But yeah, since I haven't read that, I can't speak on it. I do think the ending we got is a bit lukewarm. Like, the more that I've thought about it, the more it's like, yeah, it's a bit disappointing. And it's the kind of thing where it's like, again, truly, I just wish we had more time. It feels crazy considering we've got way more epilogue for My Hero than most shonen series gets. So many series get one chapter after the ending. But even so, like, it's because My Hero is a universe. That's really it, It is posing to be, like, something on the level of, an Invincible or The Boys. Something that's playing off of the idea of being a Marvel or DC without being Marvel or DC. Being a single run thing that is still, exploring an entire world and presenting a world. And with that, there's plenty of stuff that I never figured we would see. Like, of course, we're not going to go to all the different countries and whatnot. That's fucking crazy. But it's still, like, even within Japan, there's definitely so much more we could do. And yet, I do think, given the constraints Horikoshi had, this was probably the best outcome. Or, it's a good outcome. It's not the best. Again, if I have quibbles, I can't say it's the best. But yeah, like, it's also not my favorite part of My Hero. That's a big one. Like, we'll go to Undead Unluck in a little bit, in which I don't know if I'd say the ending is my favorite either, but, I mean, that might just be a problem with ending arcs in general. With a lot of the rest of the series, you have more time to do other stuff. Whereas, like, for most of these chapters, what can I say they were besides it was mostly, the fight. It was mostly a fight against one guy that kind of became a fight against a different guy. And then it ended. Like, even the side fights were more or less wrapped up. Actually. Yeah, it is literally all the final fight and then the epilogue. And I think the epilogue is, like, genuinely very good. But yeah, I was going over from 411 onward one more time just to see, like, did we even have, like, the epilogues to some of the, like, other various fights? But no, that was all in 2023. 2024 really was just, like, a chunk of My Hero that I think is just, it's all execution. It is all, we've set up the dominoes, and, like, it could still go one way or another. We could still, like, a big question is, of course, is Deku gonna falter, truly? Or is he a true hero? Is he, like, the kind of hero who is a bit crazy? Is he willing to go all the way? Is he willing to just say, absolutely, I'm not moving, I'm saving Shigaraki, whether anyone wants me to or not? Yeah, I cannot justify putting My Hero this year anywhere above a C. Yeah, like, my heart is screaming for it to be at least a B. But I think if I do a B for My Hero, I think that's narrowing it way too much. Because, yeah, when I'm thinking of a B, I can already think of multiple series in my head right now where I'm like, that's probably a B. That, that doesn't make it to the way Hunter x Hunter or One Piece were this year. So, yeah, I think My Hero has to be a C. And, of course, we can shuffle these around a little bit if we need to going forward. But I really don't want to. I get a bad feeling when I'm watching a ranking video and someone's then like, oh, for balance, let me just move these around. It's why I try not to do it very much when I'm doing the weekly rankings as well. I think it's a bit of a betrayal. But yeah, there's no way this is a D, and I don't think this counts as a B. So yeah, that's it. But yeah, I'm, still excited to see, like, whatever else Horikoshi does, / whatever happens in the world of My Hero Academia. But also, if we just let this one chill, that's fine. We don't need a Boruto. We don't need a Boruto for everything. Sometimes it's okay for the IP to, in fact, be okay. It can just be itself. We can just chill. Jujutsu Kaisen, I have not read any this year. I just kind of wanted to talk about the fact that, man, the Jujutsu Kaisen community fucking is rotten. Jesus Christ. Like, the one benefits as a person who unironically did, like, enjoy My Hero. Again, enough for it to be a C tier. Ending, I should say. Even then, I still liked it. And I do think, truly, the one saving grace of, the time around the ending was that Jujutsu Kaisen, from what I've heard, was apparently so atrocious that everyone stopped talking about My Hero. I mean, people were still muttering about My Hero, but it was nothing compared to, like, whatever the fuck was happening in the final arc of Jujutsu Kaisen. So yeah, it's a series I'm probably never actually going to get around to, even privately. But, man, what the fuck is going on in the community? I just wanted to say that for future reference, in case somehow all the information on Jujutsu Kaisen is scrubbed off the internet except for this video exactly. Let the future know the Jujutsu Kaisen community was fucking crazy. But also, you know what, while I'm here, the My Hero Academia fandom was also crazy. Jesus Christ, guys. Up to the very end. You know what? I've already moved on. But spoilers for My Hero. I'm still hearing people talk about how they wish Deku didn't have powers, in My Hero. We ended the series without him having powers. You got what you wanted. Jesus fucking Christ. The series is the series now. It is done. It is done and dusted. You can, if you want another series, just make another series, my dude. It's fucking crazy. My Hero is truly the only series I have ever read where, that's such a, a complaint from chapter 1 has stayed, in discussion, loosely, but still in discussion all the way to the very end. Even with Naruto, at least you have, the hard work versus talent thing, which is, 100 chapters in during the Chunin exams. But no one's sitting around, I guess people are mad about the whole, Naruto situation. People are still, to be fair, yeah, I guess you're right. People are still mad about the concept of what the fuck was going on in chapter 1. How is Naruto like this? Knowing what we know about the world of Naruto, knowing Naruto's parents now, knowing all the build-up to when Naruto was born, how did we end up in this situation? So yeah, never mind. It's Naruto and My Hero are the two. Or to this day, people are still interrogating what the fuck is going on in chapter 1. But even then, I do think that's a different flavor. People aren't looking at Naruto and going, I wish the entire series was written where Naruto was super OP and everyone loved him and everyone knew he was the son of the Hokage and whatnot. Anyways, I guess this was the Jujutsu Kaisen area. Jujutsu Kaisen, of course, goes into just haven't read. Straight up haven't read. I gotta say, same goes for Yozakura family. Haven't read it. I know it's getting to the very end, and I've fully confirmed at this point. So I cannot catch up with it on channel, so maybe I'll just read it by myself. Check it out. But finally give it its due. Because all the spreads have looked really cool, and from the covers, from the jump covers it's gotten over the last 2 years, I can immediately tell something really interesting happened in the series. Something really interesting happened. How do I put it? Similarly to Undead Unluck, there was definitely a period where everyone was like, I guess the series is over. And then it kept going for 2 more years, and also the covers got really, really cool. So I think I have a guess at what was going on there. But yeah, I should not really speak on it. I do hope, I should say, I was talking to my beloved fiance Donuts, and we were talking about Yozakura family just loosely, in the sense of it's kind of in the same place right now the Demon Slayer was before Demon Slayer got its anime. It seems like a series that isn't it completely has not popped off. We are in the end game. We're probably in the final fight, I think, or like whatever the final arc is of Yozakura, like whatever we're doing. And it's about to get an anime. And so it's in the exact position of like, surely this isn't going to pop off. But if it does pop off, we could get a true Demon Slayer like a big explosion of people getting into the series. Because Demon Slayer, to this day, is still a series where like, I love season 1 of the anime. I have not watched past season 1. But also, I love season 1. I went back and reread the chapters because I read a bit of early Demon Slayer, was not into it. Reread what I read, went all the way past where the anime was. Still did not like it. Still was like, man, I don't see it. It's crazy. But that also does mean it's never too late for a series if it's getting an adaptation. If it's getting something that will bring new blood into the community, it's possible. And I am honestly rooting for it. It would be a real 0 for 2 in terms of Jump trying to get a pillar, though. That's another big thing, especially as we go into the later series that have started. I'll talk more about future pillars of Jump. It's very funny that we've had 2 series that have become we've had one series, Demon Slayer, that became borderline a pillar of Jump after it stopped running in Jump. And should that happen to Yozakura family, fingers crossed, it would happen again. Jump has got to get better about actually promoting things as they're coming out. The problem is really that, they are very, very hesitant to give a series an adaptation within, the first year of its serialization. Or, something like Bleach, where, Bleach got their anime, around chapter 150? A little bit before that. That was around, the big, saving Rukia moments. I guess other series are kind of doing that. I guess it is 3 volume, or 3 years in. I guess so. Damn. It just feels crazy. Finally, to a segment that's an actual segment. Undead Unluck. Going back to the premise of this video, something that I have extreme trouble dealing with. So here we had the Undead Unjustice flashback. So leading all the way up to where I ended off, which is essentially just the ending. Oh, actually, where are you? This isn't the flashback. Oh, this is recruiting Julia. Oh, fuck. Wait a minute. Okay, yeah. Okay, so this is the end, the very, very end of recruiting Julia, up to the Brazil arc. Oh, the Brazil arc is so good. Holy shit. Oh my god. Okay, good. This is actually way more of Undead Unluck than I was hoping for. Because that includes the whole fight with Uma Beast. That includes the legendary, truly iconic, Fuko connecting with her past lives, realizing her control of her soul, doing the spirit gun. God. So we've got that. We have basically all the soul shit in Undead Unluck. Oh my god, that's actually a really funny way to put it, considering how intrinsic it is to the entire series. To think it's crazy that was right here is basically, oh my god, that's crazy. That's fucking crazy, right? To think that 2024 was the year of we finally figured out how souls work. Of course, we had the legendary top chapters where none of the titles of the chapters make any goddamn sense. You can tell the meta thing that Tosuke was trying to do with it, but none of them line up. I don't know what the fuck happened there. We got that. We got the deadly Shiratori battle against language. Truly, again, one of the best arcs in the whole series. It's so fun. It's so cool. Oh, the little Tatiana. But yeah, the deadly Shiratori is so fun. It is truly I started going damn, this is just like the Shiratori battle from No Game No Life. Let's see how this goes. And it ended up being genuinely better than the Shiratori battle from No Game No Life. It's just as crazy. It might be crazier. We blew up the sun inside the sun. Holy fucking shit, it's so cool. We get to see a fake sun and fake Luna. We get to we go through so much shit here. There's the whole Fuko being deleted from existence and having to get her mom and dad together arc. Truly fucking crazy. Genuinely a really cool arc. Like, again, like, we do so much stuff with souls, and that is one specifically where it's like, yeah, it's not that Fuko is, like, it's not that, it's a time paradox. It is instead that, like, her parents need to be together in order to create the soul energy that they would have used to create her in this timeline, but instead they just need to, like, refresh Fuko's container so that it can last another loop, which is just a cool idea. But we have like the whole the whole Unchaste arc here as well. We have the Tatiana stuff. We had something in between, but I don't actually remember what it was. Oh, never mind. Was it just Tatiana? I guess it was just Tatiana, and then we go right into the final fights, which is so fucking cool. But yeah, we have the whole debate over, like, are we going to use, are we going to use Remember or not? We have the big fight with Unruin. The whole, like, final fight is also so cool. I think it'll definitely read even better on a reread. Like, it definitely had some anxiety this time around, which is, like, the constant everyone going, like, I think Undead Unluck would end in 3 chapters, which it 100% did not. Now, as I'm saying this right now, we are finally in the era where I might believe that Undead Unluck might end in 3 chapters. Like, at the start of 2025, we might have 3 chapters left. But goddamn, for most of Undead Unluck, I feel people have constantly been ringing the death knell, and so it's been very satisfying to, like, to see a lot of it. And to be fair, I'm not saying that it's not rushed. I definitely think the final arc could have used more chapters. There's definitely a sense here of, like, the 1,000-Year Blood War in Bleach. There's definitely a sensation of some of the stuff is definitely being rushed and other things are, being given more room to breathe, but within this general field of, like, you probably know what your final chapter count is. You're trying to pace everything so that it will all get in. This isn't a situation where you have the luxury of being like, let's space this out more. But I do think Undead Unluck is so well suited to that. Like, from the start, Undead Unluck has had, like, this constant feeling of, we're setting up something that could be a whole arc, and then we are going to subvert it. Like, chapter 1, we basically do that. It's a bit different, but we basically do that with, the build up to, like, Andy and Fuku's partnership. We do that again with the Union. We do, of course, the now famous, iconic, what if I teleport into this round table and immediately try to kill everyone, which we've done, like, 2 other times since then. Like, Undead Unluck is truly so fucking good. It's so high octane while still being so fleshed out. I think also, like, the fact that we had, 2 loops over the course of the series really, really helps with being able to flesh everyone out while still making the stakes very high. Like, we allowed the entire, like, situation of the series to be truly, genuinely apocalyptic halfway through the series, and then, the apocalypse did happen and everything was annihilated. Like, it's genuinely such a good design for a series, because also it only happens, like, twice there, and then, like, this whole final fight has been doing it again. But it's not something like a time loop series where, you kind of get numb to it after a while. That loop still had that constant feeling of, like, can we keep going? Can we keep doing it? Narratively, obviously, we're going to loop again, but still, a lot of people didn't think we were going to. And then this time around had, the tension of, this is really the final loop, and the more we go into it, the better we do, the more we realize how insurmountable the odds are, how, like, fucking crazy, stacked we were against it. The idea that we are, like, going full cheat level with so many of these concepts, and yet, we're still barely managing to squeak out a win. Oh, it's so good. Yeah, Undead Unluck also got an anime this year. It slapped. Orphaned after season 1 situation. Sorry, my mic cut out. Because, yeah, it's a great series. And I think, giving it a full anime, adaptation, past the movie that we're getting, I think that would also help really iron out some of the later stuff. Because it really is, it's putting it into the hands of the animators in the sense of, as I was saying, the movie is a really good example in that it is a more fleshed out winter arc from what Tozuka said. And so it's a really good middle ground of, if they want to do things, super fast-paced like the manga, they can. If they want to flesh things out more, if they have the time, they also can. That'd be super cool. Like, it also helps that, due to the breakneck pace of Undead Unluck, it feels like an adaptation, what we've gotten is a little slower pace than I would have liked, but I think it's still fine. And we always have the option to go full 1,000-Year Blood War with it in terms of just like, what if we just adapt the crazy shit super fast in order to give it that sense of explosive power? It really goes either way. Because also, it's very cool to, like, to see things, like Andy's, like, undead regeneration real time. Like, it's all, like, it's cool to see it done fast. It's also cool to see it slowed down. It's cool to see it, like, like hyper detailed. And the same goes for a lot of negator abilities. They're just super fucking cool. And there's plenty of other, like, interactions that we've never seen that we could definitely just, mess around with, especially in this final fight where, like, everyone is fighting and they're all fighting different guys that all have different abilities. We see, like, glimpses of them here and there. But yeah, like, even with that, I'm happy with it, truly. It's the kind of thing where, like, it's a little, unsatisfying because of how fast it is here, but also, if it was really slow, I think people would be fucking pissed off. If we spent like an entire 2 or 3 chapters in each like bubble, I think people would be screaming about how slow the fighting is. Like, I think it's a struggle. It's a real struggle. And I think Undead Unluck walks the line in a way that I really like. But yeah, we had some truly peak moments. I feel like Undead Unluck's got to go into A. Like, especially with the way this is structured, where, like, the oldest series are first. I think we're getting a little lopsided here, but, it should even out as we go through. In terms of how good it was, though, I think it's got to be better than Hunter x Hunter this year. Hunter x Hunter was great. Undead Unluck was unparalleled. Again, Fuko doing the first ever Unluck bullet with her soul is so fucking cool. Like, the Undead Unluck bullet for the first time, the bad ends, the big, like, we can just, both agree to take off a portion of our souls in order to trap someone in constant annihilation forever. It's so fucking cool. The fact that Undead Unluck has its own play on the hearts, and it's honestly, it's not quite as, like, how do I put it? It's still, like, I would say it's as impactful as the Bleach one. I think I've spent way more time thinking about the Bleach one. It's been, like, decades at this point. So, of course, like, the Undead Unluck one, it hasn't, like, percolated in my head quite as much. But it's much more direct while also being indirect. We still haven't seen, like, the final consequences of it, like, in 2024. Even then, like, like, being able to ping pong between, like, the hard, like, hey, here's the thing that's gonna fuck you up. No, it's not gonna fuck me up. Let's keep going. No, you gotta understand. You gotta be upset about this. No, I'm not gonna be upset about it. Listen. There's no choice here if it's, literally, but what if you kill everyone in order to have your memories and then you die as well? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? That's not a choice. Truly. The ratio of iconic moments to chapters in Undead Unluck is insane. Like, just across the series, it is stacked. Every time you're like, oh, it's just this arc, you reread or rewatch the arc and it's like, holy fuck, never mind. It's so dense. It's so good. Like, I do think it might beat Hunter x Hunter in that aspect. Like, Hunter x Hunter sometimes has to do the One Piece thing of, like, let's just progress all the plot lines a bit. This isn't going to be iconic, but it's fine. It's still going to be a good read. It's still going to be very enjoyable. Undead Unluck is enjoyable every single week, and also, like, every other week you get something that makes you go, Jesus fucking Christ. This is the kind of incredible moment that some series will spend their entire runtime leading up to. You can't do this every other chapter. Speaking of series where you look at it and you're like, you can't do this every other chapter. Me and Roboco. Where the fuck were we with me and Roboco? Oh yeah, New Year's, of course. Oh, you know what? I bet I have. Of course, I haven't read the most recent Roboco. I'm certain if I go to 216 right now, it's probably another New Year's chapter. Such is the power of a gag manga. You can really just keep on doing the same thing over and over and over again, and it's fine. But yeah, we got some great chapters this year. Yeah, like, similarly, we kind of progressed a little of everything. I think my favorite arc actually was the fishing arc. Was that actually earlier this year? Oh, the Winds Gaius? Oh, yeah, the Winds Gaius was extremely good. This entire chapter fucking slaps. It's incredible. Yeah, we got the rap chapter. I do think the best chapters are the fishing chapters. They are the most, like, reinventing comedy, new forms of comedy, new forms of, like, this isn't even comedy. That's why, like, especially the first, like, fishing chapter is so incredible, so powerful. It is not funny at all. It is a fishing manga. It is just outright. Me and Roboco is just a fishing manga now. And then after that, for the rest of the arc, we put in more comedy. You know, we introduced Roboco Juniors, which have been a big part of the series. We keep on bringing up the Roboco Juniors now. But like the fishing arc, truly, I appreciate Miyazaki Sensei's willingness to just be like, I'm going to take a big swing. Like he's very transparent about it as well. He's just like, I'm really into fishing right now. And I do think that allowed him to create a kind of manga I have never seen before. Like, it's just so fun. It's so serene. It's so, like, it's the constant weight of, like, I care about these characters so much. You know, it's like the reverse, like, the transition from gag manga to battle shonen. Like, so many series have wanted to do it. Me and Roboco is really having its cake and eating it, too, by, you know, it's repeatedly made the gag of, ha ha ha, we're gonna do that. And then it has done it for, like, a chapter, essentially. Like, once a year, we get, like, a chapter that is the battle chapter, and as of late, we've also been getting, like, an arc every year that is the, like, battle arc. Like, this year, we got a future Roboco coming back from the, like, big Roboco combination thing to, like, bring Roboco to the future. Yeah, wait, this was this the chapter before? Yeah, this is just the cycling chapter. Like, yeah, right. The fishing chapter is part of, like, the overarching, like, the saga here. Yeah, this was the fishing arc. Wait, was it 188 then? Come on, I need the chapter that's actually just fishing. Yes, 187, Fishing in Bondo. This is the one. We have the straight up Miyazaki's fishing corner. We just have the big, like, hey, here's everyone's gear. Like, this might be one of my favorite Roboco pages in all time. Because it's so clearly just like, there's no joke here. There's no comedy here. This is 100%. It's just a fishing manga. We're just fishing now. And yet, I think it is transcendent. It's so fucking good. Yeah, we did have a gag here. Fair enough. But yeah, we can keep going through the gags, but I think I'll cut it off there. Just to say, Roboco has continued to cook. It's great. We finally have confirmation that the movie is real. We've been talking about the movie for so long that I really doubled back and I was just like, I don't know if it's real anymore. I'm not sure if we're actually doing a movie or not. But no, we saw the movie. It looks like it has incredible animation. I'm really, really excited for it. I actually have a theory now. Going to the cover of Jump again, you'll notice that, like, you know, Luffy's right here. We've got, like, Sakamoto and Chinatsu as, like, the Zoro and Sanji. Again, the spread is making me lose my goddamn mind. But, like, as big as them and as big as, Chihiro? It's Chihiro from Kagurabachi, you know, like the Spirited Away girl. Yeah. But, like, they're all around the same size. We have, like, a big corner just full of, like, the little guys, including some people who are extremely big and important. Like, for as much as I've been glazing Ichi, it's crazy that Ichi's so small here. But even Tokiyuki is small as fuck. But even then, you know, like, Roboco is on the same size level as, like, 3 of the series that are clearly being pushed as being, like, future big series. We desperately want you to know about them. It's also so funny that Roboco is not doing anything. Like, I assume the prompt here was, you're under attack or something? Like, serious end of the world. Which is tough to do for, like, a sports series. Like, what the fuck is Chinatsu supposed to do during the apocalypse? I guess she will play basketball? Like, what the fuck else is she supposed to do? But Roboco here is just straight up odd job posing. Like, just posing. Which I get it. Like, yeah, what the fuck else? I mean, I guess the problem is she has attacks. She has a Roboco beam. She can do an attack. Why the fuck is she just standing here? The fact that she's just standing there, but she's so big on the spread, makes me feel like they might be aiming for her to be the new Luffy. Like, think about it. If One Piece Word ends tomorrow, who would be here? Like, who would be in the front of Jump? Who would be, like, the focus character that everyone would be, like, piled around? I would say either there wouldn't be one, or maybe Roboco. Just in the sense that the series is about Jump. It's very Jump glazy, and she has a design that's, like, a really standout design. Like, the problem with Sakamoto for Sakamoto Days is that, you know, he moves between forms. I think his fat form is much more iconic. But in terms of, like, art and, like, covers and whatnot, they're always using his slim form. You know, Chinatsu, I think, is great. Like, truly, she is iconic. But yeah, she doesn't stand out that much. I think Andy from Undead Unluck, this might just be bias. I do think he has the potential. But also, like, Undead Unluck is nearly over, so there's no fucking way. But I would be down for, like, an era of Jump where it's just Andy right in the middle, or, like, Andy and Fuko. I mean, honestly, it would probably be Fuko in the middle, but then that ropes back around to, like, I don't think Fuko is that iconic in the same way that I don't think, like, I don't think Chihiro looks that iconic, He looks fine. But, like, looking at this, like, do I get the vibe of this is Shonen Jump? Not really. Like, same with Chinatsu and with, like Slim Sakamoto. Fat Sakamoto, he feels a little more Jump-like in that, there is this, like, strangeness to him. There is this immediate thing of like, oh, big fat guy with a gun. That is very gripping, as opposed to normal Sakamoto, where he does give me a similar feeling to a lot of the other characters that are just like, what if I was just a cool guy with a weapon? It's why Andy, I think, sticks out so much. He has a weapon that's, like, stabbed into him, but also his weapon is, shooting his finger. It's like a spirit gun, but it's, like, it's more visceral. It's more weird. It immediately gives you that feeling of, like, what's going on here? This is really strange. Anyways, that is all to say. Maybe Roboco is really good this year. Also, she might be the face of Jump. I can't think of a better face of Jump after One Piece is over. I mean, presumably Hunter x Hunter is going to go on forever, so you can always slot Gon in there, but again, you can't have a face of Jump that's not in Jump. And like, I'm saying Gon specifically because he also, has big Shonen Jump energy. But like Kurapika does not have main Shonen Jump right in the center during the snowball fight or whatever. Like, there's no fucking way in hell. Absolutely not. Yeah, me and Roboco, it's either a B or a C this year. I think I'll give it a B. I consistently undersell Roboco, but it is like the funniest shit. And that includes, like, I'm reading constantly, like tons of rom-coms and stuff and whatnot. Roboco is so good. It has that perfect, like, it's perfect because it's not perfect. Because sometimes I do read a chapter, I'm like, this wasn't funny, and I just close it. Like, yeah, this year we also had like the shogi arc where, like, they did an actual branding thing with a shogi app. Roboco's always shilling. I love it. It's crazy. I can't believe a series would shill like this. I moved down to C. No. Did I bump up my hero? No. I think that's good. Sakamoto Days. Let's move this up here, actually. Sakamoto Days has been, let's see, where have we fully covered? Yeah. So we have the museum. We have the whole ending to the museum. We have the flashback arc where we finally get the secret of what the fuck was going on with Slur and what is her name? I can never remember her name. Akko. That was right, Akko. Yeah, we got their whole flashback. Yeah, I do think this whole fight in the museum was so fucking sick. And I think the flashback was really, really good. Again, was seeing more of what the deal is with the Slur, getting the confirmation on how the personalities work, seeing him develop a new personality as well, getting the big Mr. Takamura fight, and then after that, seeing him kill truly the ultimate, the only force on earth that can kill Mr. Takamura is Mr. Takamura inside of me. And then, broadening out the entire, prison arc has been a super highlight. The prison arc especially has been great. I am loving it. Tenkyu has been a delight every single chapter. He's one of the most evil characters we've gotten since, the foreign, murderer arc. Not even assassins, just the straight murderers. Because, everyone from the orphanage has this layer to them of, you look at them and you're like, okay, but you were abused. Even if we don't know exactly what happened, I get the idea. Whereas, Tenkyu was abused, but it's harder to see because, everyone else is more sympathetic, more human. You can deal with them more. We've also been dealing with that with the new personality, with, everyone being like, what the fuck is going on? Hey, I thought you were, a normal guy. What the fuck is going on here? But yeah, I do think, the Shin arc has been really, really, really nice. Even though Shin has been the one who develops, whereas Sakamoto is, the strongest. And we have, we've shifted that now. Sakamoto has been, developing more and more and more. He's been regaining his old strength. He's been trying to train and, whatnot. At the same time, it's been very satisfying to see Shin, go to higher and higher and higher heights. And, where we ended 2024 with this promise of, going into a flashback arc is really, really, really exciting. I'm very, very excited to delve into that, see the origin of, Shin and Sakamoto's relationship. And, and then how it all traces back to here. Because, a lot of the Sakamoto flashbacks I haven't really given that much of a shit about. Or rather, I like the characters in them, like, like the origin of Kei becoming Slur and whatnot, like, all that, cool. But, like, Sakamoto himself, I'm not insanely interested in terms of the past. This year, actually, was this the year where we got the final, like, goal of what the fuck the series is about? I think it is, actually. Yeah. Truly, I think this alone bumps Sakamoto up an entire letter grade. Like, Sakamoto Days has been fine, but I definitely had this feeling over the last couple of years of, like, I don't, like, Yuto Suzuki is great, let him cook, but also, I didn't have a lot of faith in, like, where the series is going, like, what the fuck are we doing? So it was very exciting to get to this, to get a moment where we just learned, like, oh, here's the move, like, no, like, originally, there wasn't really a plan, it really was just, Sakamoto's trying to get the bounty canceled on him. Like, the bounty really was, for the most part, a driving force. Like, just a general, like, hey, here's a reason why he needs to come out of retirement. And it really, really, really evolved. It became something entirely different here, like, in this moment, because it is the combination of, like, yes, let's do that, but let's stop being reactive. Like, there's something we gotta do that is now going to be proactive. We have a plan. We're gonna change the world. And we're doing it from, while still maintaining what Sakamoto Days is about, like the idea of, Sakamoto's life changed because he settled down and created Sakamoto's. From just to be like, all right, let's just turn the JA into Sakamoto's. Let's just make it a chain store. Let's just create convenience stores across all of Japan. It's so fucking good. I really, really, really like it. And then, of course, that then going into, like, the whole, like, prison arc and, like, Sakamoto forcing Torres to train him via attacking him constantly. It's been really fun. Like, it really feels like we've entered the renaissance of Sakamoto Days. A lot of what we've been doing has been fun, but it's had that layer of, like, it's like watching an expert just noodle. It's fine, but, like, I don't know if I'm getting much out of this besides, like, raw emotion and fun and, like, pure, like genius on display, which is a lot. Like, Yuto Suzuki is a genius. And just seeing a genius play is incredible. It's part of why I love Bleach as well. But, like, this is exactly what I needed to, like, to fully buy into Sakamoto Days for the rest of the series. The idea that it's not just, we gotta fight this guy because we gotta fight this guy, or we gotta fight this guy in order to, to save his soul, or we need to fight this guy so that Sakamoto will, be able to chill. This idea of, like, we are going to change the world, and we are doing it in a super crazy way that still is, it ties back to the fundamental root of the series. I love it. Like, we just got a Sakamoto Days live action, skit essentially that was like that. That was just like, what if this, here's just a, like a cashier at a different store that is meant to evoke Sakamoto's, but it had that feeling of, like, oh, maybe this is gonna be what the series is like, like at the end of it. When Sakamoto's is a chain, you could do this, like, just all over the place. Every store is gonna have, be something like this, where it's just like, yeah, they'll beat the shit out of you, but they won't kill you. Because, I assume they're gonna, they're going to take on Sakamoto's philosophy, But yeah, it's somewhere between a B and an A. I think it's a high B. Like, I think it's better than Roboco, which is rough, because I don't think so. Never mind. It's going after Roboco. Because, no, like, I really, really like Sakamoto Days, but Roboco is still, like, it's a delight. Even when it's shit, it's a delight. Whereas, like, when a chapter of Sakamoto Days is just an I just don't talk about it. It's part of why I took it off the live stream. Well, I mean, I barely do the live stream, but even when I am doing the live stream, there's still that feeling to me of, like, I don't know if talking about this is really going to make it better in a meaningful way. It's fine for what it is. And then sometimes we, like, we dipped into, like, much stronger stuff. But yeah, like, when I think of the stuff I love in Sakamoto Days, it is, like, like, fight by fight. It is like, in a fight, we will have one really cool moment. Like, that's why I think Tenkyu is so exciting. Because truly, every chapter Tenkyu is in, he does something fucking batshit crazy, and that is extremely cool. But a lot of the time, like, what we do instead is, like, like, cool compositions and whatnot, great choreography. Like, Sakamoto Days still has the best choreography in Jump. But, like, I think that's why, the Sakamoto's, like, chain idea is making me so excited. Because Sakamoto Days is carried so well on its choreography that just adding anything else bumps it up. I was going to give it a hard C, like, if it was just choreography, but thinking of everything else it has done this year, I gotta move it up to B. But yeah, it cannot get to A. I can't give it A. Now, the Elusive Samurai. The Elusive Samurai, I think, has more of a potential. Because, yeah, this is the Nago fight. Let's see, what else was happening here? Jesus fucking Christ. We were dealing with Sadamune here. Oh my god. Oh. Okay, so yeah, so this was the death fake out. One of the few things I don't like in Elusive Samurai. The fact that we saw, like, right before this, let me jump back to 2023 real quick. But yeah, like, this is not a great way to start the year. Just because the series is so legit most of the time. Just the fact that, like, we see this shot, and it's like, the idea that this didn't happen. Because let's see. Because yeah, like, the thing that really got me was the arrow smashing into Tokiyuki. If we look at the page again, because maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, this is why I didn't like it. Because the idea was, oh, Ayako blocked the arrow, and like, her weapon smashed into Tokiyuki's stomach. When what we clearly see in the image that I just showed you is the arrow itself smashing into Tokiyuki's stomach. And yeah, you could argue, oh, it's because, it's the force of it. We're seeing it from Tokiyuki's perspective. It's like he was just hit by the arrow alone. No. Listen, it takes away from the impact. You could have, even done, like, a big impact thing to give off that idea of, like, oh, there's, a big force here, but also maybe it's obscuring something. But we see a clear, unobscured image of it. Yeah, it's one of the few things where it's like, yeah, this feels like a real cheat. But, it is actually really cool to see that, yeah, like, Tokiyuki learns, this technique, and then we ended the year with him essentially using the technique as well. I didn't realize that. That's actually really cool. Yeah, so we got the Battle of Aonogahara. We got the death of Akie. We got, of course, Toki Yorito. Like, a lot of this year, I think, was, the battle, like, over there. Yeah, the Konomura Fuyu attack. And yeah, like, leading up to Shinano, and then where we are right now, as of, like, the current ranking, this moment, the idea of, like, we've hyped up Toki Yorito, we've, hyped up this technique of, using the force of the horse. To be fair, like, the technique we were seeing before was also, like, shooting through a horse to hit the person. But, that's possible because of, the force of, horseback archery, yeah? Plus, like, right before this, again, we got to have the talk with Sadamune, the tag with Sadamune, like, just Ogasawara Sadamune. No one else, no epithet. It's just an old man and a child playing tag while trying to kill each other. Or rather, old man trying to kill a child. But even that was so cool. Like, it's been so satisfying this year to see Tokiyuki's growth, to see another, flash forward, to see, the reverberations of Akie in the world, like, how some of it didn't quite work, but others, other parts of it did, talking to the former emperor, the emperor of the Southern Court once more, getting his approval, but also, seeing where Tokiyuki is now as, like, a free agent. Somebody can do whatever the hell he wants. But yeah, so many incredibly satisfying things this year. The art has been god tier. The concepts have been fucking crazy. It's been firing on all cylinders. Like, I think Samurai gotta have an A. I think it's a lower A than than a lot of the other series here. I can't say it's like, oh, this is Undead Unluck tier, but, like, every single week I'm also reading Elusive Samurai and adoring it. I think it's definitely a series that it gets it gets some flack for me for being, like, unbelievably good, but also I read it, like, very early in the rankings, and so of course naturally other stuff is gonna if I rank something later, it by the nature of that tends to, like, have a chance to rank higher. Shoha Shoten has been talking about that quite a bit when it comes to, like, the politics of, like, like, how you can't, when you start a thing, you can never give the first thing the very, very top. It sets the scale way too weirdly. You gotta, like, it's naturally going to drift downwards, even if it is genuinely the best thing. So yeah, I feel like Elusive Samurai is going to stay in A, and even if I add more stuff, like, in front of it, I think it deserves to be an A-tier series for sure. It is so fucking good. If you're not reading the Elusive Samurai, you gotta read the Elusive Samurai. Also, of course, it benefits from being a Giga Shotokan series. It's so powerful. Oh, we got the, like, Tokiyuki's married now as well. So much fucking shit has happened. It's incredible. Tokiyuki has a wife, or, a future wife, and also she is going to create Kyo again. It's crazy. What a truly fucking crazy series. Oh, I never talk about this next one, but Witch Watch. I read Witch Watch religiously. Every week I am reading Witch Watch. Like, it's so fucking good. Like, it's continuing the same path that it's always continued, truly. Something like this where it's just like, this is a fun gag chapter playing off of, all the characters. And as we keep adding characters, it's so satisfying. Like Bond, for instance. She's come in so late to the party, and yet she has fit in so well. She is such a good combination, like, Gyaru who lives at the house / pets / worst person in existence. She manages to cover so many bases while still not really overlapping with anyone else, while also, adding so many new things to the series without taking away anything, really. It's so good. Also the whole, Kid Nico thing has been so good. We've had years of Kid Nico at this point, and, inevitably, she's gotta age back up. We'll do the final arc, but it's the kind of series where, truly, we can keep going forever. If we got another 100 chapters of Kid Nico, I wouldn't be too upset about it. It's great. The only chapters I didn't like this year were the kid who's got Star Platinum. I don't give a fuck about her. I don't give a fuck about her genie. Truly, I've tried, and the emotional impact of the chapters, those hit me. But in terms of the actual characters and the gags and whatnot, I don't give a fuck. They are some of the only additions to the cast I don't really like. Even the current arc we're on right now, I think it bangs so much. Is this where it started? 180? That's around here. But yeah, this whole flashback arc, Phantom Blaze, where we're seeing all of the familiars' parents and how they teamed up with Nico's mom back in the day. The precursor to this whole situation, a different sorcerer trying to summon Jura, that's it. But yeah, I adore, this kid here, and the fact that, just the, he's so Witch Watch. Just the idea that, apropos of nothing, in one chapter we introduced a new teacher, and the teacher's whole deal is, I'm a Chuny character. I got big Chuny energy. I keep on referencing my backstory. I keep on acting like I secretly was super important back in the past. And then we get this arc where we confirm 100%. I mean, we knew it from the start. Of course, Witch Watch is that kind of series. It's not trying to say, oh, you're not going to guess this anymore. Now it's fully we're not going to, be upset if you guess, oh, this thing's going to be important later. But at the same time, it manages to execute so well, you can't help but be like, holy fuck, I can't believe this is the same guy from the gag chapters. I love... it's such a fucking funny, incredible way to do it. To introduce a character whose whole gag is, I was secretly really important in the past, and then to get the flashback and be like, yeah, he was insanely important in the past. He deserves all the hype he got. And yet it also makes sense that he hasn't been around until literally, right when he was reintroduced. Witch Watch is so unbelievably good at that. It is the eternal cycle, and it starts from, the very start. We are constantly doing the cycle of, here's some god-tier gag chapters that are just some of the best shit in Shonen Jump, and then we're going to then go into a serious arc, and the serious arc is going to, play off of stuff that we introduced in the gag chapters, plus it'll add a ton to the world, and then after that, we then take what was in the serious chapters and play them into the gag chapters. And we just keep doing that, and it builds on itself so well. It's a delight. It's so good. It's also the kind of series that I don't think I could do reactions to. It'd be fun, but there's something just about the feel of it where I'm very happy to be reading it by itself. I think it's the kind of thing where, overanalyzing it might take away some of the magic of it. I'm definitely the kind of person who, I'm not great at predicting things, but I can predict things. And something I like about Witch Watch is that I try to, I throw out very loose predictions. I'm not really following the fandom on it. So whenever we do get a big, by the way, this is important now, this is relevant now, it does blindside me. It does make me go holy fuck, this is important now. Also, our Chuny character being the inspiration for the manga inside a manga that we get one chapter of every year. The one that is mainly just, the teacher and her student off to the side are making fanfic based on the series. But now we know the mangaka of the series, and we know that she knows our Kitsune, the teacher, and he was super important in the past, and he's the reason why the Uran Mirage exists. It's crazy. It's crazy. God, it's so good. I think Witch Watch has to rank pretty fucking high. It's so interesting in that, I think the average Witch Watch chapter is better than the average chapter of Roboco. But I just like Roboco more. And I don't know, to be fair, if I read Witch Watch on the channel and it was something everyone enjoyed along with me, maybe I would like it more than Roboco. It's very possible. Because it is, it's much more of a me kind of series. I am a sucker for, a perfect series, a series where everything is, it feels perfect. It feels just as planned. It feels like nicely put together. Everything builds to everything else, and that is what Witch Watch is, and that is not what Roboco is. I think I might actually have to put Witch Watch above Roboco. I don't think I can't. Like, Witch Watch even is a potential contender to get into A. Like, there's the chapter where this is the kind of thing I love about Witch Watch as well. Like, I love, like, powers with rules, and I really like just, like, small implementations of them. Like, like, when we get individual Nen abilities in Hunter x Hunter, and I see how they work within the greater Nen system, it's fun as fuck. But I'm not obsessed with, like, power scaling them. Whereas I feel like that's definitely a bigger trend that I can understand. I can see why it's fun. I'm not super into it myself. So, within Witch Watch, like, I really appreciate chapters like the chapter where Bon gets the ability to, she spells cast on her, where if she closes her eyes, she has X-ray vision, and it extends, like, to a certain length depending on how long her eyes were closed. And so we do, like, a Black Flash parody from Jujutsu Kaisen, or like, what is it? A black blink or something is what the gag was in Witch Watch. The idea of, like, if you time it just right, and then like, you can see whatever you want, like, through X-ray vision. And so she's using it to, like, peep on all the guys. She's using it to then, like, to gamble. She's, like, winning at cards and whatnot. Because she's a dragon, she has this natural instinct that allows her to, like, to time it really well, whereas none of the guys can do that. And so we have a full chapter of just shenanigans of, like, essentially, what would you do if you had X-ray vision? It's super fun. It's super wacky. And then she goes to bed thinking about what she's gonna do tomorrow. And then when she wakes up, she is in a endless void. And then we realize, oh, right, the whole concept is, if you close your eyes for a little bit, you can then see, further away. And also, like, it lasts for as long as your eyes were closed, I believe. And so she slept, which means her eyes were closed for 8 hours, which means when she wakes up, her X-ray vision has now extended to, like, the world. Like, she's not an endless void. She is, like, on land still, I think. Like, there's still a horizon, but she's like, oh shit, everything is X-ray to me now. It's all invisible. And also, this is going to be this way for maybe 8 hours. I don't know how long I slept. I assume it's 8 hours, but she's such a sleepyhead. She's super fucking lazy. So also, maybe it's gonna be for way longer. She can't tell, because also there's nothing to look at to gauge how much time is passing. She can't see anything that would allow her to track time. And she can't try to, like, pass the time by falling asleep or closing her eyes or hoping it's not happening, because if she closes her eyes, it'll extend the time that she's in the void. It's so fucking Twilight Zone. It's crazy. Witch Watch is so good at doing shit like that, where it's like, like, playing around with a concept and not just doing a big nightmare mode thing, but just in general, like, like, exploring all the facets of an ability that is already a weird ability that you wouldn't see in most things in the way that it is. Like, the way the Kenta Shinohara manages to build new spells and, like, bring back old spells and bring back new concepts and merge them together and play them off of different characters, and also, like, work with everyone's gags, and also, like, manipulate the cast that, a certain grouping is around for this thing and that thing and that thing, and, he can manage all of their interests. I'm like, just the idea that Moy is super into, like denim, where you haven't, like, washed it or anything, so you're, it's, like, staining everything. He's super into raw denim, that's what it's called. Like, just the idea that everyone has their own things that they're super into, and we are constantly doing chapters that are just advancing everything. We're advancing the YouTube channel, we're advancing this, we're advancing that, we're solving people's problems. We have a whole side cast that also have their own problems and whatnot. It's so good. We have so many characters we can also just kind of, like, bounce around on. We've got, like, the student council, which is fucking wacky. We've got the girl who is basically Blackjack, but also she's a NEET and she just talks through androids. God, there's so much shit in Witch Watch, and every time, like, it does the same thing I love from me and Roboco, of every time you think you've forgotten something, it comes back and you're like, Jesus fucking Christ, how did I forget about this? This could be its own series. It's so good. Like, I think Roboco I like a bit more, but also by the very nature of it. Like, as much as I like the fact that it has big dips in order to make the actual funny parts really good and has, like, very experimental comedy, I think Witch Watch, like, beat by beat, neither of them have missed a chapter this year. And beat by beat, I think Witch Watch is just generally, every chapter is better in whatever it's trying to do. The funny chapters are funnier. The plot chapters are better plotted. The art is god tier. Like like it's not like insane, like like gorgeous, but it's really really good. Kensei Shinohara does not get the credit he deserves for just being able to also draw really really well. Yeah, sorry, big upset if you guys know how much I love Roboco, because I do love Roboco, and I never get to talk about it, but I love Witch Watch. It fucking slaps. Anyway, speaking of I never talk about it and it slaps, Blue Box. Does anyone know that I read Blue Box? I bring it up occasionally during Jump, just to say, like, I'm never super caught up. I caught up relatively recently. Not gonna lie, like, remembering I had to do this also let me, like, read the last volume's worth of chapters to fully catch up. It's really, really good, and it's also, like, it's doing something that I really do like from, how do I put it? I don't read a lot of sports series in high school, but generally a high school series. Like a high school series that covers multiple years can do something like this, where like we are simultaneously closing a lot of loops from the start of like this year, and also like revisiting a lot of shit that the anime got into, and that like the early chapters got into a lot of super iconic stuff there, just because we went through a whole year. Like, we did the fireworks again. And, the fireworks fucking slap because, when we first did them, it was that idea of like, oh man, I met Chinatsu here, but I really wish I could, like come here next time with Chinatsu. And this time, Taiki did go there with Chinatsu. But also, we still had, like we're constantly progressing in interesting, cool ways. Like last year, Taiki and Chinatsu finally started dating for real, but they had the blocks on it of like, listen, we can't let this go public. The big one, especially like restated now, is we can't let Chinatsu's parents find out just because, she lives with Taiki. Like both of them are just extremely aware of the idea that it would be really fucking weird for everyone, for their parents to understand that, they are a boy and a girl who are dating who also live in the same house. Like just it is the parent thing, it's the moral thing. She doesn't want her dad to freak out over it. But, like, even Taiki's dad knows now, and he's not freaking out over it. He goes outright and is just like, yeah, like, I think this is fine. Also, your dad might think it's fine, like, you might have a different impression of your dad just because, you don't know him that well. But, don't be too scared of it. But also, I will keep your secret. I'm not going to say anything about this. But also, Taiki, don't be a fucking crazy person. Like, it's also been, Blue Box is so good at being able to do all the shit that I was really worried about early on, but doing it in a way that feels natural, Like, the characters feel like they really are growing up. Taiki went from being, someone who thought of Chinatsu as a god to someone who actually understands Chinatsu. Like, and even so, he still idealizes her to an extent, but in a way where you can understand it. Like, like I do love that their initial, like, the friction really was a very understandable difference in that, he idolizes her, and also he understands he's a really weird, horny teenager, and he's like, yeah, this is really fucking weird. I don't want to freak her out with this. I don't want to, like, be strange about it. And meanwhile, she's also like, yeah, I'm a guest at your house. I'm someone who is like becoming more like family. I don't want to fuck anything up. If you feel uncomfortable with this, which you clearly do, I don't want to fuck it up. And they have to negotiate it. They have to go through it. They have to accept, like, yeah, like Taiki needed to grow up because, like he was uncomfortable with the idea of being with someone like Chinatsu. And, as he is growing up, both terms of, like growing up as a person, growing up within sports, growing up, like in an interdependent, like, emotional relationship with Chinatsu, understanding her more and more and more. It's so fucking satisfying, to see him like properly grow, also without having to like, a lot of series do the easy, like, what if I introduce a problem in order to then, like, have the characters surpass it in order to make them go, like, oh, they grew, while still, like, not having them grow in ways that matter. That's something I think people have definitely been scarred by with, like, 90s shonen. Your classic, like, especially, like, not just Rumiko Takahashi manga, like, Takahashi is bad at this, but also genuinely, like, like anime with filler and whatnot, because in filler, characters can't progress, and that really changes something like Ranma 1/2, The newer Ranma anime adaptation feels fucking crazy because it moves so quickly. It's like, damn, these people feel more like real characters. They still feel like Rumiko Takahashi characters, so they're fucking cartoons, obviously. But, like, well, there's less of a feeling of nothing's ever gonna fucking change about these people, Jesus fucking Christ. Whereas the old anime definitely had that feeling of, like, it's comforting because nothing's ever gonna really change, but also, it's a little stagnant because it's like, damn, we're gonna do the same gag 50 times. Blue Box, I think, is really satisfying in that we do get to do the gags, but we also do get to have everyone grow. And, like, also, we've been going through, like, like, the ebb and flow of everyone changing. Like, Taiki has grown into his own. He ended up, like, he beat Haruyu this year. Meanwhile, Chinatsu, like, has been, like, the goddess of the court. Everyone's loved her so much, and, like, she had a big failure this year. Like, like, this, was it this chapter? Or if it wasn't, yeah. Well, no, this is the flashback. This is the flashback, but also, like, later on, we get the, like, another mind break Chinatsu. Yeah, it's, like, after this bit is over. But yeah, like, I do appreciate here, like, getting to see, like, when her dad did say this. Because also, this is why she's so invested in the idea of her dad, like, like, not wanting to, like, support the relationship potentially. It is that idea of, like, I need to prove to my dad that I stayed behind for basketball and not for a boy. Even though I fell in love with this boy after, like, we had the whole situation set up. It's so perfectly, like, it's so perfectly teenager. There's a lot of stuff that I think you can definitely, like, skim by. How do I put it? Like, just by saying, oh, they're teenagers, so it's stupid. I think Blue Box does a good job of really feeling realistic at presenting teenagers that are stupid. Like, stupid and emotional. Because they do stuff that feels stupid and emotional without being insane or without being contrived. Like, a lot of the stuff that I was really worried about early on with Taiki, has really, like, moved on as Taiki has revealed himself to be. Like, he was more immature in the past. And it is all stuff where it's like, I can see why you thought this. Like, it definitely helps that he has grown for real. That shows me that, yes, this was a writing choice to make him immature and not just the mangaka going, this is actually the way I see women, or this is the way I see relationships. But yeah, this year's had a lot of, like, closing the loop. Like, we're doing Yumika, like, arc right now, Chinatsu. We've started the year with Yumika arc as well. We got to do the fireworks. Like, as I said before, I think I'm repeating myself now. There's not a lot of, like, in-between stuff that I remember, to be honest. Blue Box is definitely a, like, I read, like, a volume every once in a while. I don't read it weekly, and that does, like, fuzz my, my, like, recollection. But I do think I definitely enjoy Blue Box more, like, in chunks rather than weekly, which is also why I wouldn't, like, add it to the rotation. But yeah, it is great. And the anime is, god tier. I think it helps as well that, truly, I started the series going, your main thing can't just be Chinatsu's really cute. And I do think the series has, like, continued to make Chinatsu really cute and really angelic, but they have toned it down a bit as, as Taiki has also, like, gained a greater appreciation of Chinatsu as a human being. Which I think makes sense. Like, she is, like, she is still angelic. She is still, of course, like, someone who has that it factor. But it's slightly less. It's just barely slightly less, while still, like, like, she has lost none of the appeal. She is just, like, like, felt a little more approachable, which is also what the series is trying to do. It's so good. It's so good. Oh, it's so fucking good. But yeah, Blue Box this year, I don't, I think it was better in other years, but I think this year actually was really good. Again, the fireworks really, really, really got me. I'm not a big fan of, like, the problem with, like, later on in a lot of series is also, if I'm not a big fan of the extended cast, that tends to be when the extended cast gets the shine. And there's a fair number of, like, characters in the extended cast of Blue Box I'm not super into. Like, a lot of the characters that were great at the start have continued to be god tier. A lot of the newer characters, like, they're probably fine. It's just I haven't, like, grown to love them that much. So I'm gonna, yeah. I think overall, maybe a C. Because, again, that's my hero territory. I would say, like, Blue Box was as good as My Hero this year. Like, they're about on the same level. Like, yeah, like, I do think the whole, like, early Chinatsu arc, the whole, like, like, her breaking down, again, like, like, the festival as well, having to come out to everyone, just be like, hey, finally, we're just gonna say it, we're in a relationship, it's fine, get over it, don't tell my dad. It's been fucking great. But yeah, I think under My Hero. After that, we've got Akane-banashi. Fucking hell, we were still back in Tanuki Dice. We were here. We were still with the idea of, like, you could use your true nin. But yeah, holy shit. So yeah, we've done so much shit. Like, Tanuki Dice slaps as fuck. Like, it's so goddamn good. We had the whole, like, Tizen thing. We had, like, Akane finally talking to her dad. That being, like, much less cathartic than you would expect. Like, much more off-screen, much more like, it's private. It's for them. It's not for us. Very curious to see how that's gonna like change though, because I do feel like now, especially like we're saving a lot of the on-screen stuff with her dad. Even knowing that he has stepped away from Rakugo, I do think like like now that she knows Shigemo's art, now that she is like pursuing it, now that she is the disciple of Isho, like I do think she's going to connect with him more, like in a way where it's still not gonna be gigantic. That's not what the series is. The series made a really strong point this year also of saying like, this is Akane's deal. Like, here is Akane's specialty, here is the Rakugo verse, here is, Akane's understanding of Rakugo as a story form, as an art. Like, this is why she is ready to take on Shigemo's art, and also, this is, like, her thought process. Like, this is what the series is. The series did have a level of revenge to it at the start. She's not doing this for revenge anymore. She's not doing it for her dad. That's not what the series is about. This is about Akane wanting to become a Shinichi. It's about her wanting to rise to the very top. And she does want, Isho to, recognize her art and her father's arts. But it is, because it's her art, not as a, I'm just a vessel for my father. She is doing it for her. It is so fucking satisfying. And I mean, the whole arc we've been in is great. Seeing Shigemo's specialty, seeing a Shinigami, and then him dying. The whole, I guess you can call this, the Shinigami saga, really. Everything from after this, because truly we've had 2 big arcs this year. We've had the whole ending of this bits, going through the the whole graduation ceremony. We've had I guess that's also its own arc, Maikuru becoming a Shinichi. But then also Akane becoming a Futatsume, having to deal with the graduation stuff there, and then going into what I would then call the Shinigami saga. Shigema being hospitalized, getting the backstory, getting all the build-up. We really ended 2024 with the note of what are we gonna do now? We've all met up, we've all talked about it, but Akane has not yet gone to Isho, and that is clearly what we're going to do. And I'm so curious to see how that's handled. We know what the plot is, we know what the pathway is. Akane-banashi has been so good year after year of keeping things loose while still giving us pathways. And right now, for so long it was she needs to become a Futatsume. She needs to learn everything she needs to graduate from being a Zenza, and then she needs to graduate from being a Zenza. And she has done that. She's a Futatsume now, and now we know her new pathway is we know what it's like to become a Shinichi. Maikuru really cleared that path for us. She's not going to become the new first Shinichi in an 20 years or whatnot. Instead, her pathway is she needs to progress Shigemo's art to its final form, which means she needs 3 specialties, and so that's the arc we're on right now. She also needs to become Isho's disciple. She needs to properly use him as a teacher. There's so much to do. We have such a long road ahead of us. I'm so excited. I imagine each specialty is going to be its own saga. And it's not even going to be the we're doing the specialty saga. I imagine it's going to just be Akane, progressing as a Rakugoka, and as she does that, coming across new stories and new traditions and creating her own specialties, picking them up as she goes. Because once she has all 3 specialties, then then the gateway is open for her to do Shigemo's art. And I imagine, narratively, she's going to perform Shigemo's art during her her attempt to become a Shinichi. But even there, that feels that's got to be 3 years ahead. We have so much Akane-banashi left to do. I think Akane-banashi is gonna make it to chapter 200. Clearly. Well, actually, yeah, we're at 140, so obviously we're getting to 200. I feel like Akane-banashi might get to 300, honestly. At chapter 140, where we are, right now, where I am right now, I should say, we feel like we might be halfway through, truly. I could see it being shorter, but I want this to be the halfway point. For this to be, this is the pre-time skip, essentially. And I don't necessarily need there to be a time skip, but I assume, when she become, before she's ready to become a Shinichi, we're probably gonna do some time skipping. Just in order to, have her be in various status quos. But even then, I imagine, it's going to be, maybe a year of, doing this kind of thing and seeing what she likes, and doing this kind of thing and seeing what she likes. Yeah, I think we have plenty of time to mellow out, because also we have all the other disciples as well. They're all growing on their own regards. Yeah, God, Akane-banashi has been so good. And yeah, like just the expressiveness of the characters is so strong. The emotionality of it is great. Seeing, like the politics of the Rokugo world is fantastic. I'm still not like super like, I gotta do a reread to like the structure out all like, the big heavy hitters and the big schools and whatnot, because that's all stuff I've kind of like skimmed by. But I got the basics of most of them. I'd like to be able to remember all of the Arch 4 instead of 3 of the 4 at any given moment. Right now I'm in my I remember who Zensho is arc. I know Zensho, I know Iken, I know, shit. I'm stuck there, I got Tyson. I'm missing one. I'm constantly rotating between which 3 do I remember of the 4. Anyways, that is all to say that Akane-banashi was cooking this year. I'm very excited for next year, but, like, this year was the year that, like, how do I put it? Before this year, like, around this arc, I would have been able to say, like, maybe Akane-banashi's got until, like, chapter 150 or something. I could see it ending, like, relatively soonish. Now I'm like, I think we're halfway through. I think we got 3 more years easy. With all that said, I think it's gotta be a C. Like, it's so fucking good. That's the problem. The problem is everything is so good. But I think, like, the tier that it's on is definitely, like, I think C is definitely, for me, the tier of, like, it's really good within its niche, but I don't know if it has, like, explosive potential. Like, A is, like, like, there's no doubting it. A is, an A when you see it. B is, like, it's got potential to go up to A, and C, I feel like, is definitely the tier of, like, I'm pretty comfortable in saying this couldn't be an A. Like, right now, especially, this can't be an A. Like, that's the bitter pill with the My Hero ending of, like, this is not an A ending. Similarly with Blue Box, like, it is great. It's so funny looking at the cover of Jump and being like, yeah, one of the pillars right now might be Chinatsu. Chinatsu is, like, the Sanji right now. Like, if these are the Pirate King's wings in, in real life, within the pages of Jump, I can see that. I didn't even consider the idea of Roboco being behind Chinatsu being a real, like, fuck, it should be me, it should have been me. To be fair, she might be looking at Luffy and thinking it should have been me, it should have been me. But yeah, like, I love Blue Box, but I could, I can't see Blue Box, like, making the climb to A, even though it's so good. It's so good at what it is doing. Same with Akane. Speaking of... Now, RuriDragon is such an interesting place. Again, Chapter 7 started this year. Like, if you look at the chapters, most of RuriDragon was this year, which is crazy. But it says so much about the first 6 chapters that, like, they were living in everyone's heads since their hiatus, Everyone wanted to come back. I was so fucking excited to come back, and it's been great. Truly, it's the most, like, part of those 6 chapters is also, like, surely you can't make this magic, like, be a full series, right? Like, maybe, maybe it had to be only 6 chapters, but nope. It's been great. It's been great. It's been very fun seeing how RuriDragon has, like, built out. How she's, like, found new adversaries. She's, like, made new friends. She has, like, slowly been developing a camaraderie with the school. She has, like, come out of her shell. God, it's so good. Some of the later stuff, I haven't been, like, super into the, like, extended cast of shenanigans now. Like the guy who wants to go date Ruri. Like, I'm not super into it right now, but we'll see. Right now, I think, like, Ruri herself bangs and her, like, close cast bangs. The whole, like, ripping out her horns saga was great. The general bullying stuff has been very fun. Like, seeing her teacher as well. Like, the middle ground he's in right now of just, like, yeah, I'll admit it. I understand dragons. I'm here. Like, this isn't a coincidence. But that's all I'm going to say. Make sure that when you vomit up your poison, that you don't vomit it up. Just let us know where it is. We'll clean it up. It's fine. Don't worry about it. But yeah, I'm loving it. I'm excited to see Ruri continue to grow and continue to, like, it's such a unique series. I think that's why it's so addictive. It is the most, like, everyone loves the early parts in, like, a battle shonen. And RuriDragon is really giving us the promise, like, it's the reverse gag manga thing. Gag manga constantly have the promise of, this is a funny gag manga. Also, I desperately want to do a battle arc. RuriDragon is the opposite of, we are never going to do a battle arc. That's not what the series is. It is eternally, like, what if I'm a normal person who with, like, with an abnormal situation, I've got an abnormal heritage, and I'm feeling it out, I'm just living life. It is constantly in that phase, like, what people think of as being some of the most interesting shit in manga. And so it's really satisfying to have a series that is just indulging in that. Like, what if she just continues to develop her powers, but she doesn't have to go save the goddamn world? We got kind of close to the stakes of, like, we gotta change the weather. But even that, I think, was done really well. It was done in a very clean way, and it's a very clear, like, yeah, we did some build up there, but that wasn't the climax. It is, big. It is still a really cool moment that I think would be very cool in animation, but the point of it is the festival, and we've been focusing on the festival, and the festival has been really, really, really fun. Both literally seeing the festival and also seeing Ruri, like, continuing to help out, continuing to, work on it. It's really that feeling of, like, yeah, like, it is both, we fought so hard for this, and it is worth it, and not just, oh, we fought so hard for this, and now we're going to fast forward to the bonfire at the end. It's so good. It's so good. It is a joy to read every chapter. It's one that I can't put super high. Again, I definitely have the reputation of person who glazes a series that immediately says F. I don't think I can beat the allegations, but I think it's because I love all of these series, but on a tier list, like, they got tiers. I think RuriDragon is definitely a, like, it's a series that I think is a super important part of Jump, but it can't be a pillar. It is a series I think you might pick up Jump because you really like it, but it's one where it's like, yeah, it's no Undead Unluck. It's no Elusive Samurai. I think it's like, like, if a B series to me is like, it's on the edge of becoming an A, I think Ruri has to be there. And in fact, I might move it above Sakamoto. Because I think Sakamoto, like, Sakamoto Days is a series where, like, what they're saying about the anime is looking very scary. Ooh, losing a lot of faith in that one, like, in it being great, but also, I just want live action Sakamoto Days. That's what I truly want. It's the only series I've ever wanted a live action for. RuriDragon is, like, the opposite in that, like, I think it's God tier if it continues to be a B tier. Isn't that crazy to say? Like, again, it comes back to the magic of why, like, everyone was waiting for it in those 6 chapters, after those 6 chapters, but no one was saying, it's going to be the GOAT, it's going to be the A, it's going to be the next One Piece. That, if it tried to do that, it would be worse. It is a good series because it wants to maintain that feeling of B, that feeling of, like, we are in, like, within this realm. We are doing something that no one has ever really seen before, eternally staying in the good early arc of a series, staying within these, like, constraints. Even, like, Witch Watch did this, actually. Like, some of my favorite shit in Witch Watch, at the start was, like, that Nico just being like, yeah, a good witch solves people's problems, so I'm just gonna solve everyone's problems. Let's just do a bunch of, like, problem of the week chapters. And we still do that constantly. But, like, those were very fun in their own rights. And I think part of what makes Witch Watch eternal is that, yeah, like, sometimes we do, like, just do housemate stuff. Sometimes we do still solve a random person's problems, and it's fine. It's great. Like, Witch Watch is close to, like, like, what I want from RuriDragon, except, Witch Watch does do the serious arcs. And I think it's a miracle that it makes them really good and that they don't take over the series. That Witch Watch is constantly capable of going back and then saying, no, fuck you, I'm not going to constantly escalate. Never mind, like, like, the world is escalating, and yet we can still do, like, 50 gag chapters. It's fine. RuriDragon is like that, but it's entirely just interpersonal drama. It's so good at it. I have a mind to put it above Roboco. But it's tough. To be fair, I do rate RuriDragon relatively low on the rankings every week, which I think is also a sign of how I feel about it. That, like, I really like it overall, conceptually, but it's not something that, like, stands out to me as a series. Like, it's not something where, like, I'm constantly going, this banger, 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 banger all the time. Same with Sakamoto Days. Sakamoto Days, I really like when it's really good. A lot of the time I rank it pretty low, actually, because, like, it takes a special chapter for me to go absolutely giga banger. Like, yeah, B really is the splitting point between the bangers and the, like, sort of bangers. Okay, after that, we've got Cipher Academy, just the very ending, just 55 to 58. Oh boy, this really depends on, like, where we are in Cipher Academy. Oh boy, because, like, I remember the ending pretty damn well. Oh, it's the dance battle. Yeah. God, incredible chapter. Truly. God tier. Nisio-Isin. I'm so glad he ran the craziest fucking shit in the universe in Jump. Cipher Academy is the ultimate. This should not have run 58 chapters, and I'm so glad it did. It is the ultimate. Like, a lot of English speakers are under the misconception that the series doesn't work because, oh, I don't know Japanese, and a lot of the ciphers rely on Japanese. You don't understand. Japanese people don't understand these goddamn ciphers. It's more understandable, but it still comes down to, like, you can't do most of these. These are fucking crazy. Nisio-Isin is an insane person. And so it is, you gotta just accept it. You gotta go with the flow. You gotta enjoy the ride of, it is also like something that, Nisou loves to do. What if I do the craziest fucking shit because I've got insane brainworms and I've got to write 5 series at the same time at all times. And I've got to do the most complicated shit in all of those series all the time. He's a fucking madman. So yeah, like, based on the last couple of chapters, like, just the fact that, like, it has the most this was canned ending I can think of, but also, to be fair, like, yeah, we are in the final arc for so much of it. And, we do everything we set out to do. That's really it. Like, like, we do get to the end. We see, we get the potential inheritance of the morgue. We also learn at the end of, oh, by the way, it is morgue is an MORGUE, like, I do think, you could probably spell it either way. Like, we do see a literal thing written in universe that shows that, it is, like, UE at the end. But I do think, like, a lot of cryptocurrency, like, signs are, 4 letters. Same with, like, stock market things. So I do think MORG, like, all uppercase would have also worked. It's fine. But yeah, like, it's a great series. It is the most insane, like, you can't, truly... How do I put it? All the girls have such great character designs and gimmicks and whatnot. We flesh out so many of them. When Anonymity-san got a lot of, like, love. Like, clearly she did become more popular while still, like, remaining within the bubble of, what the series was gonna do. But, like, she is the most unexpectedly giga-popular character while still being a character where you look at her, it's like, yeah, of course she was, expectedly popular. She is just normally attractive, but she also has a really, really fucked up thing about her, which is, the same with a lot of the characters. We have the fucking, the trauma creator, and we get Iroha to actually, suffer the effects of the trauma creator herself, and then for the rest of the series, he's traumatized by her. That is true. We just stay with that for the entire series. The series is so good at selling promises and actually keeping up with them. We do end up recruiting the battlefield dancer in the coolest way possible. We do a lot of, like, interesting stuff. We get, the concept of what if I, reply to a riddle with a riddle, or, a cipher with a cipher. What if I use a cipher to protect instead of a cipher to destroy? There's so much cool shit in the series. It's so perfectly, like, it's in this awesome middle ground of being, like, it feels so fucking light novel, as expected of an Nisou property. It's so light novel while still being genuine. Like, it is a week to week. You don't know what the fuck's gonna happen, and it's so goddamn cool. And just the sheer number of ciphers being created is so cool. It's the ultimate, like, if you're interested in cipher shits, like, the Cipher Academy, I think, is just, it's a must read, no matter what. It's so good. It has so much shit to just be inspired by. It has so much stuff packed into it. It feels like, a world of endless possibility. It's part of why the ending, I think, stings a little bit. Just the idea of, like, we ended on a hard, we didn't really get what we wanted. That's the one part that I think does sting. It feels rough because it's a real, like, damn, with everything that happened, you're telling me we still couldn't get a true happy ending? You're telling me there's still war? Oh, I thought we were going to end all wars. But, yeah, it's rough. I still liked it a lot for what it is. For a series that actually, like, ended, I feel like the ranking, it's not ranking the whole thing yet. It is just ranking the final couple of chapters. I think the final couple of chapters are very strong. Like, I think it's hard to rank the final couple chapters without, thinking a little bit about the series as a whole, because it's carrying the weight of the series. That's the power of an ending. I do think, like, I gotta give it a C. It can't be a D. It cannot. Like, it's a C, but it's going to be, like, a low C. It's going to be, like, a C minus, just because, like, the final chapter, I wasn't a big fan of it. But even those last couple of chapters slap. They fucking slap so much. I love, like, the ending of Iroha's, like, battle with Tokusai. It's so fucking good. Like, yeah. If it stays right next to Akane, I'll think that's still a victory in its own right for, like, again, 3 chapters. 3 chapters in which I didn't like one of them. Still insane. And yeah, big recommend. After that, we've got Nue's Exorcist. Oh, wait, no, we've got Kill Blue first. We got Kill Blue. Ah, man, we did so much shit in Kill Blue this year. Jesus Christ, most of Kill Blue was this year. Holy fuck. Yeah, we got some good shit. We're continuing to build out the mystery of Noren. What the fuck is going on with her? Why does she have a kill mode? We've stepped away a lot from, like, like a lot of the early stuff in Kill Blue I do love, but there was definitely a layer to it of like, I'm not sure how I feel about the potential like of relationship bait. But then, like Ogami's made it very clear, no, I'm not having a relationship with this girl. She's a literal child, absolutely not. I've seen some rumblings, and because she's got a kill mode, maybe she's also an adult that got shrunk down. It's possible. That would also allow us to do a romance arc, but at the same time, we don't really need one. I think it's fine if we don't. But yeah, the home ec club continues to slap. Just the general concept of Ogami loving school continues to slap. I love school as well, so it's been something I've really, really enjoyed throughout the entire series. It's like the closest we've gotten to like Assassination Classroom in terms of literally assassins and classrooms, but also a series that truly loves being in school. Like once we get to the series currently running in Jump, Shinobi Undercover. Shinobi Undercover is like the shitty Kill Blue. I think Kill Blue is like the best possible execution of what it is doing. Which again, crazy, but to be expected from the creator of fucking Robot Laser Beam, which is also god tier execution of of a golf series. Kill Blue fucking slaps. We got, of course, maybe the most iconic chapter in the entire series, the one where we get to the principal and we learn the secret plan of the principal, which is, what if I gave everyone in Japan guns? Specifically, the idea of I'm going to create a Japan where everyone has a gun and it's going to become a shithole like America. To see the number of people yelling in that chapter, it is the most. You can separate the Americans from the non-Americans based on that one chapter alone. It is only specifically Americans who are pro guns, or pro how would I put it, a free existence of guns. Because of course, if you want gun control, you would also be on the side of maybe we shouldn't have a Japan full of guns. But it is specifically the people who are no, everyone should have a gun, who then had to read that chapter and they're like, there's no way you can read this without this being an anti-gun chapter. This is an explicit, yes, Japan will become a shithole if I give everyone guns. It is also specifically just the idea of Japan is too, it's a country that is too good because people aren't scared of each other. If I give everyone guns, everyone's going to be fucking scared of each other. I'm going to create discord. People can just shoot each other in the street. People can, do mass shootings. And again, it's a school principal doing this. So there's clearly, they don't say it out loud, I want to cause school shootings, but, it's clearly the implication there. I think it creates such an interesting energy. It is also such a good balance of Ogami being an assassin who is retired. At the start of the series, part of why I didn't like it, because I looked at it and I was like, this feels like a Sakamoto Days clone that's also kind of a reincarnation series. It's got a lot of just shit slammed together. It feels like it's just doing it to be popular. But I do think Kill Blue executes on everything it is trying to do so well. Noren could be such a flat character, but she is so genuinely good. She's so fun. She cringes so much the way she used to act. I do think that's because the way she used to act felt way more cliche. She feels like a proper, rounded character now. We also have the ability to just do tons and tons of different kinds of arcs now. I still don't give a fuck about Pacifier Boy, but I do think, he's still fun in the various arcs we had. The whole, haunted house, mansion chapter, banger. A lot of the fights we've had with the various people trying to, take Noren's hand in marriage, great. Super cool. The principal himself, really, really cool character. Evil character, but extremely cool, extremely fun to see, working. His, perfection, his ultimate, being, the ultimate husband and never missing a beat. It's so creepy, it's so scary, it's so, Johan-esque. But yeah, I truly think his plan is maybe one of the best chapters in all of Jump this year. It's so fucking funny. And it genuinely, it's something where, it is both one where, some people freaked out over it. A lot of people do think it's a really good villain plan. Because it's the ultimate, yeah, this could happen. It's not something where if he does it, the series is over. It's one where it's well, yeah, if this happens, we can still deal with the outfall, or we can still do an ending that is just maybe we'll have faith in people, and maybe Japanese people just won't shoot each other in the streets. But it has that perfect psychotic villain nature to it of this plan doesn't it makes sense, but it also doesn't quite make sense, and so there's that in between space as well. Whereas I feel a lot of the series now have definitely swung the other way into I need a villain who either has a perfectly rational plan or a villain who is just a perfectly rational person. And that really puts you into a corner sometimes when you're well, fuck, now I have to properly argue why the villain is wrong when I've invested a lot of energy into convincing the audience that the villain might actually be right. it's very satisfying to have, like, for the antagonists in Kill Blue, to all the characters where you look at them and it's like, yeah, I get it. I get your deal. Like, you aren't an empty sack of shit, but also your deal is fundamentally wrong and we need to beat you. It manages to, like, balance that so well. But also the home ec shit is so fun. Just, like, the interpersonal stuff is so fun. The whole bit where Ogami gets into Precure is so fun. Oh, it's just a great, great, great time. Like, it's definitely a more actiony, like, it is definitely a, like, how do I put it? Yeah, it really is trying to do the Sakamoto Days thing more than Sakamoto Days. Like, Sakamoto Days fully accepted, like, we need to be a proper action series. We need to always be fighting. Whereas Kill Blue is still in that middle ground of, like, I'm hiding the secret of me being an assassin. I'm still, like, hiding this from my class. We can still have the entire class be kidnapped and I can save them all and no one will know. It's very fun in its own right. We've done the, of course, the Jimmy Kudo thing as well, where, like, he's changed back into being an adult for a bit, and then changed back into being a kid, and we've got to deal with that as well. A lot of good shit this year. I think we did that once beforehand. We've done it again since. Anyways. Kill Blue, slapping, continue to slap, very, very, still happy about it. I can't believe I'm managing to pick out these covers that well. I think it does say a lot about, the cover game in Jump. Because, these are all still so distinctive. For some of these, like, I don't think I've ever seen Volume 1 of Kill Blue. Maybe I have. Maybe you've posted on the server. But it's one where, like, I look at it and I can immediately tell, oh yeah, Kill Blue, got it. But I'm looking at it right now and I'm like, I don't think I've actually seen the full thing, or I don't recognize it based on the full thing. I just recognize it based on the feeling of Kill Blue. To be fair, a lot of these also have the main character's face really, really, really big. That also helps a lot. But yeah, Kill Blue, it's somewhere between a B and a C. I don't think it's on the verge of being an A. I don't think so. I think it's gotta be a C. Is it more or less powerful than the last couple chapters of Cipher Academy? I'm gonna put it above Cipher. I don't think it's better than Akane, though. It's like right in between, but like it's so well built. It's a machine. Kill Blue is really good, but it also has way more flops than it has like, than like something like Akane. Akane doesn't really have flop chapters. I think that, Kill Blue has flop chapters, but in general, I like it a lot. And then, like something like, Blue Box, I don't think it really doesn't flop that much. Anyways, New Ace Exorcist, surprisingly one that I'm caught up on. I might be a couple of chapters behind. I'm at the like Fujino's like clan has kidnapped her, and we're clearly gonna do a rescue arc. We're at like right at the start of that is where I'm at. So I don't know if I can fully say I'm all the way up to chapter 80. Where is chapter 80? Actually, do I recognize chapter 80? But Jesus Christ, also this is another like basically the entire series. Yeah. So yeah, we're actually a little bit into it. This is the whole like, we've healed you, but also you gotta fight us. Or actually, no, that was the chapter before this. This was the aftermath from we healed you and now you gotta fight us. Oh my god. Okay, we're good. But yeah, New Ace Exorcist, it's a real poor man's like yokai series. I do think we've made a lot of progress here, but I don't give two fucking shits about Gaku. Like, Jesus fucking Christ, I hate this guy. I don't give a fuck about him. Like, I don't hate him. That's really it. He is the most, this is protagonist-kun. And I try not to say that about a lot of series, because, generally, you gotta follow what the writer is doing. I don't think the writer really gives a fuck about him besides, like, his dad died, and that is big. But, like, when I think about his dad dying now, I think about his sister. His sister had a much better arc about, like our family died, and now I need to fight the monster that killed our family. It's just fundamentally better. I don't give a shit about this boy. But like we've done a fair bit of progress. We recently fought a captain who has Bankai, literally a captain who has Bankai. But we've progressed a lot, but we've fought our first level 3. We then fought a bunch of level 3s. We fought a level 4 that was controlling level 3s and can make them explode. We fought a level 4. The level 4 new evil Bankai. It's a series it's much like Blue Box where I catch up in chunks. And with Blue Box, I think, like, it's still a series where I look at it and I'm like, this is a fucking banger. With New Ace Exorcist, I don't know why it's still running. Like, it's fun. It's enjoyable. Yeah, my favorite girl is Kazuza. I really like her, like, wheel, the thingies. They're cool as fuck. But, like, there's not a ton there. I'm not a big fan of New A either. That's really fucking crazy, right? The bits, when our boy, like, fully unlocked his current, like, releases. But yeah, sorry, had a bit of a cut there. I don't remember what I was saying. But I think I can sum it up by saying Nue's Exorcist is such a weird experience. Because truly, at the start, it had about exactly as much promise to it as like Jujutsu Kaisen, and the difference really is just I dropped Jujutsu Kaisen, and then by the time I was considering reading it again, everyone was like, "Oh, you should actually definitely read it." And so the wait to like put it in a slot, and then the later wait of like, "Oh fuck, it's so long, I gotta catch up," really locked me out of it. Whereas with Nue's, I simply just read it off screen. And I don't know if it worked out for the best. But yeah, Nue's, honestly, I would give an F. You know, I know the shape of Nue's Volume 1, so I know it's that one. This is like the first one where I did struggle. I don't know if I'll keep the struggle on screen. But yeah, for sure, this one was a little tough. I think it is because Gaku and Nue are both very, very small on it, which I do think makes the composition very interesting. But yeah, it does mean that it's harder to like see from a distance. I think also like, the title is, like it is distinctive if you're looking at it, big. Like if the title itself is big, it stands out a bit more. From a distance, not really. Okay, after that, oh my god. So yeah, after Nue's Exorcist, we've got Martial Master Asumi. But of course, so it is just oh man. Okay, so her Lady Sharp's like flashback doesn't get in here. Because, yeah, this is when she loses. Yeah, we get Nao's win, which is fine. And then after this point, then we're going into the actual Kuronuma, like, fights. I do think the build-up was maybe a bit better than the fight itself, but I think the fight was still fine. Like, yeah, I love Asumi, but it being just the last couple of chapters, like, I do think it is solid enough. I do just think, like, this fight wasn't, 10 out of 10. I wasn't loving it, but it's also fine. I'm sure if you watch my reaction, I'm probably into it, actually. Because, yeah, we do get, like, some final Asumi-style attacks. We also, in the final chapter, actually, we see, like, like, an indication of what the showdown is gonna be when Asumi finally fights Kazlo. I do love the visual of this, just the idea, just the hints that, like, Kazlo, like, adapted the Asumi style to something more fiery, which would allow them to do a water and fire combination, like duality in their final fight. But yeah, the series is pretty darn good. Yeah, I think it's a classic, like, this is a series that should have gone, it should have gone the distance. I really, really like it. There's nothing about the series that I didn't like. Like, even the Kuronuma fights, honestly, it's on a 10 out of 10. It's not one of my favorites, but, like, it's a perfectly fine fight, and it's in a round reel. Like, Nao's fight is, I think, a better fight. Her enemy is more interesting. The build-up to the Kuronuma fight is also really, really good. The fight itself is perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine. It's the kind of thing where, I'm fine with a perfectly fine fight in an arc. Even if it is, like the big climactic fights, that's totally okay. Not everything needs to be an absolute banger 10 out of 10. If the series itself is really good, and the series itself is fantastic. Something I love about Asumi is also, like, we do have a lot of build-up. We don't immediately go into world-ending stakes. But, like, the series does have some points there. Like, all the stuff that it clearly is doing to try and, like, save itself from the evils of Jump, I think is all the stuff I don't like about it. Like, the fact that Asumi is so weirdly middle of the road, the fact that, like, it feels, like, artificial that, like, he starts off as a real total, like, oh, I just want to live a C-grade life. And even that's okay, but, the fact that he keeps on kind of, like, wandering back to it, the fact that he's got the superpowered evil side, and then we have to kind of, like, tamp down on that as you're like, what the fuck is going on there? But I do think the bones of the series are really, really good. And yeah, I mean, the start of Undead Unluck is not great. I don't like the first volume that much. It does get better, but still, like, it's one of my favorite series of all time. And for the first volume to be rough, I don't think that's a problem. Asumi, I think, the problem is that Asumi understands everything in the first volume is, like, we need to carry all of this through. Like, if I just drop some plot points, it is going to come off kind of shaky. And I do think it compromises itself a bit by, even then in the final chapters, I think it is still compromising. Like, even the idea that, like, we do a, like, essentially the Kazlo, like, backstory chapter in the final chapter. I can see why, because the series wants you to understand why he's really cool. But also, like, the fact that he's not a bad guy. He does the thing early on of seeming like the most evil man in the world, and then like very quickly within the first volume, we then do the reversal of like, oh, by the way, he has been sending money back, and he is actually a cool guy. He's not an asshole. Like, I think it's fine, but the series then really has to waffle with him. Whereas I think if he let himself be more of the heel, or rather, if the series let him be more of the heel all the way through, with just the promise of like, there's something there, like maybe Asumi could have believed in him a little more or something, or maybe, like the older siblings might have believed in him a little more or something. But yeah, I think like Asumi, like even then, it's rough. It's rough looking at stuff and thinking for a fact, like, this definitely feels like the editorial said, you should do this. You should be a little more middle of the road. People are gonna, like, it's gonna be easier for people to swallow, and that's all the stuff that brought the series down. But even if the series was totally itself, I think it still might have not done that well. Like, fundamentally, it just seems like, this was a banger of a series that the Jump audience was not rooting for, was not voting for. It sucks. It sucks, because it's a banger. But yeah, like, I mean, that's the series as a whole. These last couple of chapters, I think, are not, like, they're okay. They're just okay. That's why it's rough. It's rough. But for this year, these chapters of Martial Master Asumi, I cannot put it in C tier. I gotta put it in D. I don't think it's enough. I don't think this is a failure of an ending. I think, it's a perfectly okay ending. It's the kind of thing where truly, if the mangaka was given the shots to, like, to do some more Martial Master Asumi and just say, like, hey, I'm going to do the in-betweens. Or even just, hey, the flash forward is not canon. The flash forward is a what if. The flash forward is inside of Kazulo's mind. I'd be totally fine with that. I would still absolutely want more. But yeah, I wish it could have had a stronger showing this year. Speaking of, actually, we also had MamaYuyu. I actually did read to the end. Where was chapter 22, though? Okay, yeah, I was rereading the Haunted House chapters. But yeah, like, what we have is... So, starting 17 is... Okay, yeah, we're still in here. I do think, like, the middle part of MamaYuyu is not great. Like, even the start is rough. It has a lot of potential, but very clearly, the mangaka has too many ideas and is going too hard. Like, as someone who loves it when people go extremely hard, like, the first couple of chapters, I think, are interesting, but there's definitely, like, like, the mangaka is... The mangaka's soul is screaming. You can feel through, like, all the crazy directorial stuff. I do think around here, definitely editorial is cut in a little more. There's a little more fan service. There's a little more of like a harem vibe to the series, which I'm not super big into. But I do think, like, it goes through that stuff. We end up, we do the whole Sadako arc. We've, like, the stuff I'm really into is way more the ending. Like, the ending is also such a clear, like, the mangaka planned it from the very start. This is a classic, like, the middle part of the series could have just kind of gone on forever. And, like, it would have, like, bolstered it. And also, like, the ending is not a true ending. That's also the big one. But, like, from around here, like, when we have, like, when our main character is talking to the end, like, from here, this is such a clear, like, everything regarding the end was definitely super duper planned from the very start. And I think the structure of MamaYuyu is also really good because of that. It's so clear something where, like, because we've separated the most powerful entity from the final boss. Like, the most powerful entity has a very, like, simple one-and-done storyline, whereas the final boss has both the ability to, to go the distance, to basically just, get infinite demon lords. You could keep doing the, like, the emergence of new demon lords and new heroes forever. But I think that also, I think that definitely lent it to why the series ended. There's definitely sort of a burnout feeling to it of, like, there's too much. I know I can't really get that invested if it's a literal, like, infinite multiverse. If it's a literal, like, we can do this forever. I think something that is, very important in the Jump series is, like, being able to see an end. And, like, there is a literal end in the sense of, like, you gotta stop end. But also, I mean, I think it says a lot that, again, we do all the end stuff, and the end stuff is very emotional, very good, and yet the actual ending is cut off. It is such a hard, like, we can't do the actual final fights. I do think it's fine, Like, ultimately, I do think focusing on the emotional stuff is much more important than doing the actual final fights. That's definitely why we cut it off here, as a clear, like, the fight you're going to think of is better than the final fight I could show. Let's instead spend all this time on the characters we care about, and, like, the storyline that has been crafted. A storyline that is designed to be genuinely really, really, really interesting and, powerful. But I think the mangaka spent too long on cooking, like, the perfect bones and not enough on, like, working on how, like, the perfect meats and the perfect fats, the perfect skin. There's a lot to a meal. That's just the meat. That's not even getting into the vegetables. But I think this metaphor works, because MamaYuyu is definitely a series that feels like it does have perfect bone structure. It is so, like, it's a good premise. It's a premise that's never been done before in Jump. It is playing off of, like, the hero and demon lord stuff from Dragon Quest. A lot of the stuff that, like, isekai are also playing off of. Well, and this is also, like, a quasi isekai. It's not taking place in our worlds, or, it's not like someone from our world going to another world, but it is literally, what if heroes and demon lords from other worlds were incursioning into one world. It's a really fun idea. It's very, like, of the times. It has that, very explosive, like, like, we have infinite possibility. We can do anything. We also, this gives us the potential to, like, sigil sorcery is really well thought out, and it allows us to do, like, a ton of characters with a ton of different abilities that are all super interesting without having to, like, go into a lot of detail about all of them. Or either, you can go into detail, but it's as simple as just, here's my backstory, and my backstory does not need to conflict with anything you have ever seen before, because I'm from an entirely other dimension. Like, it is a great premise. But even from the first couple of chapters, I think it was very clear, like, you don't have enough gas in this tank. You can't pull this off. Even down to MamaYuyu, like, the cover is so striking, the name is so striking, and yet Mama doesn't do fucking shit. Mama is hanging out in the background for 90% of the series. I do think it's something where, like, if the series was very long running, she would, like, tie in more. Like, I do appreciate that, like, as much as we do pull all of the triggers on En's plotline, we don't pull every single trigger I think the mangaka had, as opposed to something like Red Hood, which was such a clear, like, we are going to do an ending that is such a pulling every single trigger ending, but we also only had, like, one storyline to work with. We had, like, 2 maximum if you count, like, the training arc. So it's a real, like, we have so little time, and we only have one arc that's, like, fairy tale like to then play off this ending that is all about, like, oh, think about all the fairy tale stuff you've done up until now. It's like what's one arc? Whereas MamaYuyu, I think, is simpler in that it is, like, beat the ultimate evil and also assemble all the heroes. All the heroes and demon lords. The demon lords are chill as well. It's fine. The ones that weren't chill, we've already killed. But yeah, it truly is just a concept I would like to see again. I don't want to see more MamaYuyu. That's really it. With something like Asumi, I would literally just want to see more Asumi. Like, I'm out there looking for other, like, great MMA series, of course. But I would love Asumi itself to come back. MamaYuyu, I just, like, I think the premise is great. It's that one we're definitely going to see more of, in the same way that, like, no isekai is ever going to take away the premise that, like, people are always going to double and triple dip on concepts. It's fine. Someone's going to do this again, and I would love to see this done really, really well, a bit tighter. Like, maybe have a limit on the heroes and villains, or, like, design differently. I don't know how else to put it. Like, I think also the sigil sorcery thing is really interesting in a way to, like, like, unify everyone. But I do think it takes away a little something to just have it be like, oh, these are all essentially, like, the same kind of relationship. It would be more fun if it was like, we each have a different kind of thing, but you can all kind of relate them to, like, a similar mechanic, but they are fundamentally different mechanics. Something like that. But again, that's all conceptual stuff. I do think conceptually MamaYuyu has good bones. That's really it. Because I'm also not a big fan of the art. I'm not a great fan of the writing. The gags aren't great. There's a lot of inventive stuff, but just because it's inventive doesn't mean it's good. It's rough. And yeah, this is most of the series. Like, I do think, like, a lot of the more overloady stuff, rather, wasn't in this chunk, so I can't take points off for that. And yeah, I do think, all the end stuff was fantastic. I appreciate the restraints. Also, is this the cover for MamaYuyu? I don't know if I've ever actually seen it. That has to be it. I think it's a D. Yeah, I can't put it in C tier. Like, I also really wish I could put Asumi in C tier. But again, with the chapters we have, it doesn't work. I think that's also a big difference. Like 4 chapters of Asumi can get, are enough for it to be in D tier. Because, those chapters themselves weren't great. This is most of MamaYuyu. This is a giant chunk of MamaYuyu. Yeah, I guess it's not most of it. It's like 12 chapters. But still, like, it is an amount that I looked at and I was like, I'm good. I'm good. Actually, after MamaYuyu, we've got Kagurabachi. I can't rank this one, but I'll say, like, yeah, I didn't read enough, I think, is for if I've read some this year. All 3 of these I have not read a single chapter of this that came out this year that is, within this span, so I cannot speak on it. But yeah, Kagurabachi is definitely in the same hole right now as Jujutsu Kaisen and Mission Yozakura family were of. I've definitely let too many chapters pile up, and so catching up is going to be a pain in the ass, even though we do have some space now in Jump where I probably could catch up. We'll see. Like, the video you are watching right now is the big one I gotta get out. And then Jump itself. I've done some, I think I've paid off some of my Soul Eater debts. So I should be able to squeeze out maybe some Kagurabachi. We'll see. Because it also depends. I need to read more just to get a feel of, like, am I going to have good reactions to this? But yeah, I'm happy that people are really, really, really enjoying it. I will say also, I don't know why the fuck this is the image for Kagurabachi. Like, specifically, the thing I was talking to, with Donut about this spread, and something he brought up was just the idea of, like, the only person here that seems like they're doing a cool, like, distinctive anime thing is Andy. Like, it is both cool and it is distinctive. You look at it and it's like, I can't think of another character doing something like that. It is, it's kind of the Spirit Gun thing, but it's with his actual finger. It's very distinctive. The blood splatter is also really cool looking. Whereas, like, very few characters are doing anything even, like, anime core. Like, you've got, Hibaru, like, doing his punch here. But even that's, like, it looks generic as fuck here. I mean, even in series, it's not, it's kind of generic. It's kind of generic. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It is just, like, yeah, it doesn't feel distinctive. And, like, it was very hard to, like, I didn't say anything about it. But yeah, like, Chihiro has a really, really cool gimmick with his sword, with the fish. It feels crazy that, like, we don't, like, have some visual of that here. I think that would definitely make him feel a lot less like, generic manhwa man. Because I think that's a big part of why people memed on the Kagurabachi, like, original image that was first, like, put out. It was just that idea of, like, man, this looks like the most generic shit in the universe. It's on a knife. If it was a knife, that would be absolutely cookage. But yeah, I truly think the fact that he uses the katana and that katanas are, like, such an intrinsic part of the series is, like, genuinely a big savior. But yeah, I have nothing of actual substance to say about Kagurabachi, so we will move Kagurabachi into the haven't read camp. And next is 2 on Ice. Okay, 2 on Ice, actually, I do have stuff to say about. I have read all of 2 on Ice. 2 on Ice fucking rips. It's so good. Like, well, some of this praise is going to be shared with Green Greens as well. Man, both of these were treated so poorly. Specifically, we were talking about, because this does change things. Okay, yes. Oh, hell yeah. Oh, this is the first vocation, right? Because after this oh, no, this is baptism, sorry. I think there's a second chapter that's also vocation later on. But yeah, this is, I love the villain of 2 on Ice. It is the most, like, how do I put this? Like, 2 on Ice itself, very good. I think a lot of the training stuff is, in the previous chapter, so I won't speak on that too much. But even though I do think that's all very good. When the main villain is, like, properly introduced, because, like, he is introduced very early on, but we don't, like, see him or meet him, Takayuki Sora. We don't meet him until, like, now. And he's got so much, like, Jesus imagery with him. Like, this is a very Dio-ass pose. I love him. He is a little much, but I think genuinely he is one of the most interesting villains I've ever seen in a sports manga. Like, I mean, according to the rule I said at the very start, if you're listening to this, you have read 2 on Ice to, like, you've read from chapter 15 all the way to the end, or alternatively, you don't care. So I can just say it. I think his whole sexual assault backstory is genuinely one of the strongest ones I have ever read. it hit a little hard to, like a little close to home for various reasons. And also, like, separate from, like, personal stuff, I think it's also just really well done in terms of, like, showing off, like, why he is the way he is without it being exploitative, which is really tough to do. It's extremely tough. Like, listen, I grew up in the early 2000s. I read comic books from the early 2000s, and also, like, a lot of 90s stuff because I was still floating around. I've read a lot of really, really, really bad use of the sexual assaults in, like, in sequential arts, whether it's in manga or it's in comics. I think genuinely they nailed it with Sora, like, both in the sense of, how do I put it? Like, like, it explains so much about his revulsion towards women. It also, it is not saying anything bad about victims. It is truly like, you understand his psychology. You see how young he was. You see how he was already, like, like, he was already fragile. He was already, like, he had all these, like, traits in him already that were built up in part by, the toxic environment he was in. And I don't mean this in a, like, like, everyone around him was evil, but, like, enough people were. That is, I think, like, manga, I think, tends to push it a little too far sometimes when it comes to, like, oh, everyone around this character is chaotic evil, and that's why, like, like, that's the big problem here. When I think it is really, really, really striking to have a series that is just straight out, like, sometimes sometimes the adults around you just fail you. Like, Sora's parents did not look into, like, how clearly messed up he was. His friend, like, knew something was really wrong, but, like, could only do so much. And, like, while he was fragile, while he was broken, he had a coach who was the worst possible coach for his situation. Like, she absolutely failed him and, put him on an insane path. But, like, I've definitely been thinking about it since then. It feels a lot like Hope. It feels a lot like she probably also got assaulted at some point, or, like, similarly, has been coping with some really fucked up shit. And so she came to this conclusion of, like, yes, the way to be the most beautiful is to be the most broken on the ice. And so he's really internalized it. Like, there's a big difference between someone saying that and then living your life that way. That's really it. Like, I kept on expecting for Sora to be someone who is, like, ultimately, like, someone who is compromising, someone who is just being an asshole to be an asshole. But truly, no, he is as fucked up as you think he is. He really does believe all his crazy god stuff. He does believe he is God's gift. And also, like, the idea that he is God's gift. He was born on December 25th, that the finale of the series is the first Christmas without God's gift. The idea that, he does he goes into doubles just to try to break, one of our main characters. The fact that he also does a doubles routine that is entirely just making his partner look like shit, entirely because he just wants her to hurt. He just wants to, like, show off the idea that women can be catty and hateful. Like, it is, it's revolting. And I do think contrasting that is, like, the stuff we get later on with our main cast. Like, first of all, our two on ice are extremely, extremely, extremely good. Oh, I forgot that he fired the coach as well. Yeah, I forgot that. Yeah. The coach that also, like, like, fucked him up. Like, she didn't sexually assault him, but she did, like, implant the most toxic thoughts into his mind. And then he did in turn, like, fire her. She was also the same person who, like, like, fucked up Kisara. Like, it truly is the story of, like, the most toxic thing happening in the past, twisting a bunch of people, and then Kisara managing to save herself. Like, being on the very edge of breaking, and then being saved by someone who, like, was entranced by her beauty, someone who crafted himself to be her partner. And similarly, I do really like that, like, we of course we'll never see a payoff to it, but the idea that Sora's, like, stalker was similarly someone who, like, was obsessed with him, who, like, modified herself to be, like, an instrument that can only reflect him. And that is in itself, like, like, finally he found someone who could be, like, doubles with him in a way that would, like, appease his ego, that would allow him to, like, expose the ugliness of women. But yeah, there's a lot to Two on Ice that I love. The fact that, like, the later half of the series definitely focuses a lot more on just the idea of, literally, your partner's life is in your hand. Like, like, showing up someone, like, on the ice is so fucked up because, her life is in your hands. Similarly, like you can't slip up, you can't be an awkward goofus. We do some gags earlier on, and then we do play them very seriously as listen, you gotta get over yourself. Whether or not the two of you have a romantic connection or if you are just friends, either way, you gotta nut up. You gotta just not be a doofus because you are literally going to lift her entire body weight. Her life is in your hands. You could kill her. There's so much about Two on Ice that I think really manages to be extremely jump-like. It really highlights the idea that, this is not a joke, this is not exaggeration. Figure skating is life or death for real. In addition to the emotional stuff, what we're doing with Sora, which also is a true life or death in a different situation. It's not, you're literally going to do a trick and die, or, fuck up, a routine and hurt someone seriously. Instead, that is due to, skating, depending on economic situations, depending on, where you are, if someone takes advantage of you, if someone, puts bad thoughts into your mind, you can simply get fucked up for life. You could destroy yourself. You could be poisoned, mentally. That's something that, Sora has happened to him, and then he does try to do that to our main character as well. And, it's because Kisara is there, because, she knows this guy, that she's able to immediately, try and stop him. But it is, it's a great, great, great series. Even even the meta aspect of it, of just pair skating is something people don't really like, and that's a big part of why the series failed, because it dared to actually be a series about underdogs in a in a magazine and in a environment where people don't really like underdogs. I think that's a big part of what I've realized with power scaling and whatnot. Some people are here for the underdog story, but a lot of people, if anyone who points at an underdog story and goes, the stronger guy should have won, this is bullshit, you don't understand what you're talking about, you don't understand the genre. I do think, genuinely, I also, was not a big Two on Ice stan. And I'm realizing a part of it was, it was solid, but, I took a big break. I caught up with it once it, after it was over. I really, really, really regret not being there for it, because it is a truly special series. It's a series I don't think I could have done on the channel. Or honestly, I may have stopped it around where I should have kept going. Because I think our main villain was actually an extremely good hook that would be something that you could talk about a lot. But also, where was it? I actually posted about this on the server. Yes. Chapter 26. I've never listened to the song. The song choices are also very good, because actually a lot of them are either instrumental, so you don't have to worry about knowing the lyrics, or English. There's a straight up dancing to a Panic at the Disco song. I don't remember which one, but I remember the reaction of just Panic at the Disco, what the hell? Oh, I think it was I Write Sins All Tragedies. That really hit me. That was a real holy shit. But I've never heard Two by Sleep. It has a different epithet to it as well. But this song slaps as hell, and this song set to their routine is legitimately really good. But it's something I don't think you can appreciate the first time around. I think you gotta read the chapter and then read it again while listening to this, so you can get the pacing down. But it hits so much. It's a great, great, great series. It truly is. It is a series about people who want to help others, people who are outgoing, and how being selfish is horrifying, but not in a greed is bad, but in a true our main villain is not someone who is just greedy. He is someone who is actively trying to hurt other people because he has been hurt, and because he feels this awful pain inside of him, and he just wants other people to feel that pain, to acknowledge what he went through. And he doesn't understand a better way to do it apart from in art. That's something that really did resonate with me. The idea of this is a feeling that I cannot say out loud. If I do this, people are just going to roll their eyes and say that's really fucked up. But people will accept me saying something fucked up if I say it through skating. If I do it in a way that is somewhat obscured. But I've been thinking about Two on Ice basically ever since I finished it. And I recently reread it just to be okay, how do I feel about it? That's why I just listened to it along with the song. But it is great. Even down to this is just a talk about the entire series. But chapter 1 is so iconic. But just the parts from chapter 15 onward, I think are still incredible. I would highly recommend. What was his backstory chapter? Chapter 25 is Sora's big backstory. Because yeah, it's definitely a chapter I'm still thinking about a lot. It hit really, really, really hard, especially because there is this layer to it as well of like, how do I put it? Like, yeah, he is truly just an actually complicated villain. Anyways, I think I'm obsessing too much. But just to say that, main villain I adore. Our main couple I also really adore. And by main couple, I do mean literally couple as in couple skating. I do think by the end, there's nothing between them, and I think that is legitimately good because, like it's fine if if it would change over time. But where we end the series, I think it is very striking that they are just two people who care for each other deeply, who are working together in order to do something that is still extremely intimate. But it's something where, like, because of that, if they had feelings towards one another, I think they would have just said it. I think it is honestly, like, very striking because they don't end up, like, together, like, in a relationship. They end up, in a, like, you know what I mean. But yeah, it's definitely a special series. I would legitimately put this one, like, it might be an A tier. Is that the cover? Is this 2 on Ice? I think it is. Nothing else stands out as looking like 2 on Ice. Would not have guessed the big red, but I could see, if that's snow, I think we're good. Anyways, that's my 2 on Ice talk. Now into one that might be about as long. Green Green Greens. Green Green Greens slaps. So we're at chapter 6. So we have most of the series. Yeah, this is the competition that they have. But yeah, Green Green Greens slaps as well for a lot of the same reasons as 2 on Ice, but maybe you haven't seen 2 on Ice, so I'm not gonna just say, oh, watch that section. But Green Green Greens is it has a lot of also what I really liked about Robot Laser Beam. It's not quite as over the top as it's, but I think there are some really strong metaphors as well. Like there's a bit where it's you have how do I put it? Like imagine smashing into a wall. But I think Laser Beam definitely has more of an anime vibe to it, more of a I have a special skill and because of that I'm the very best. Green Green Greens is way more of a putting in a lot of effort series, but also in a how do I put it? Because of that, it talks a lot about sportsmanship, which I think is why I think of it as being a pair with 2 on Ice, apart from just starting in a similar time ish. Like 2 on Ice is very much about the sport. It's about skating. It's about the exhilaration of skating, but also the seriousness of it. Green Green Greens I think is less about the seriousness of it, but it is definitely about hard work. It starts off with the main character in chapter 1 talking about how chapter 1 I'm actually not that big of a fan of. It's all right, but it's very one-shotty. It's a story of a character who doesn't care about effort, who's just if you're good at something, it's because you're talented at it. And also, I've got a ton of siblings to look after, and then we barely ever see his siblings afterwards. We see him around, but very little. The stuff I really like about the series is just our main character being contrasted with what is her name? Nadeshiko, who is much more of a I'm already a pro. I'm trying to become even more of a pro. I've got a bad relationship with my parents. But yeah, I do really, really like golf, and I think that's every time we're focusing on the essentials, the series is really, really good. It's a series that really genuinely understands how playing a sport can help a person mature. That is, I think, the big part of it. It is about our main character growing and changing. When we do stuff that's more plotty or more I have a rival now or something, if it's not Nadeshiko, it doesn't really matter. None of that shit really hits. But when it's the two of them, I think it absolutely slaps because they also they have very different vibes when it comes to how they're chasing their dreams, and yet they're both chasing their dreams very hard. They are both monsters of efforts. I think it creates an interesting contrast between someone who is more flashy and more a newbie versus someone who is much more jaded and much more cold, but at the same time she does still love the sport. She just loves it in a very different way. Yeah, this panel I think absolutely slaps. This one is great. But yeah, it is definitely a it's a fun to read series. It isn't a absolute banger, but it is it's a great one. And yeah, I think it really is the two of them are great. The way the series thinks about golf and about both educating people, but also just the way that its lessons apply to really any sort of sport are very, very strong, especially in the section we're talking about. It's not one I'm sad about losing, but it's definitely one where I'm damn, I really wish a golf series could just, could get the card. You know, if we had a special card that was the like you're not getting canceled, I think we could definitely benefit from a series and Jump having that. Being able to have the hard like, listen, you're not going to get canceled. You have free reign to properly build a start instead of the constant sweat of like, oh no, oh no, oh no, every 5 chapters I might get canceled at the very, very, very start. But okay, I don't think I have a lot to say about this one. So greens for the majority, like 20 chapters of greens. God damn. I don't think I can put it higher than a D. Yeah, I'll give it a low D. I think it's still like, it's above MamaYuyu. Like Asumi and Greens, like for these chapters, I would reread these chapters. For MamaYuyu, I would not reread the chapters unless it's, unless it's just to get inspiration for something else. If I'm just going through like, a D&D campaign and I'm thinking, what are some ideas? I might do that. I might do the same thing for New Ways as well. But yeah, like, I think it is actually very striking that everything from Greens upward, all of these are series where, like, the chapters that came out this year, I would happily reread. I think that says a lot about my rankings. Speaking of Shadow Eliminators, I'm going to be honest, I've read a little bit of Shadow Eliminators. Did I finish Shadow Eliminators? Where the fuck am I? I think I made it to chapter 16. See, I read a fair bit of it. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, this was one where definitely I was reading it and I was just like, why the fuck am I still reading this? I think Shadow Eliminators I'm giving an F. Which one is Shadow Eliminators? Oh, it's this one. It's this one for sure. Okay. But yeah, with New Ways, at the very least, like, I've read a lot of New Ways, and I don't think it was worth it. It really wasn't worth it just to be like, oh, there's one character who looks cool because she's got 2 wheels that she can, use to transport herself. She can summon familiar. She's kind of cool. Everyone else, it's like, oh, Jesus Christ. I aggressively don't really care, but also, it's pretty easy to read. For Shadow Eliminators, that was one where, like, it ended and then I caught up, or I tried to catch up, and then I just stopped because I was like, why am I doing this? Like, yeah, I truly, like, it is the most, this sure is a series. Chojo also I gotta put in haven't read. I just chose not to read that one for various reasons. So that goes right in there. I think these are the 4 that I singled out from the start as like, these are going to go in haven't read. So far, we haven't hit at didn't read enough, actually. Surprisingly, yeah. But yeah, like, I can't even really do a Chojo one because I haven't really been following it. But I do hope, I haven't heard anything good or bad about it, to be perfectly honest. That's not even an intentional, like, staying away from it. It just, hasn't really come up. So that's the Chojo section. Dear Anemone, though. I can talk about Dear Anemone. Dear Anemone is a series that I was always hoping would be good. I did actually get to the end of it. I don't know why it went back to 16, but yeah, it is the most, like, chapter 1 has a lot of promise. The series, I think, always has a lot of promise. That's the problem. Like, up to, like, chapter 17, I was reading it, and I'm like, this has a lot of promise. This could be good. And yeah, like, a lot of the bones are there. Lobelia is great. I love her design. Their design, I should say. But yeah, like, this ending especially was a real, like, we gotta cram a bunch of shit together. This arc is not supposed to be the final arc. We killed a bunch of people. We had to really speed run it. We found his friend. We set this up like 2 or 3 chapters ago, but even then, that was a clear, like, the series is coming to an end. We gotta set this one up. But yeah, the art looks really, really good. Even then, I do think, like, I'm not a big fan of the art, like, in shots like this. Like, it's very well rendered, but I think, what it really oh my god, I've already unlocked 100 chapters. Dear god, I have never run into this limit before. To be fair, I tend to pirate a lot of stuff. Okay, damn it, I guess I can't go through the chapters now. Drat. Yeah, we'll keep going. It's fine. Yeah, this is just to say, with Dear Anemone, I can't believe I wasted my final chapters on Dear Anemone. Because, yeah, all I really want to say is just, it's perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine. But it's so messy. I guess that's it. It's not perfectly fine. It's messy. Every single chapter, I was like, this could be good, but I'm not really invested in it. I don't give a shit about Anemone. I care a bit about our main character, like, just the pitch of someone went to, the land of evolution, the Galapagos Islands, in order to change. So strong. The whole backstory with his friend and with the Anemone were good, and like the action was decent, but a lot of it just gave me this constant feeling of just like, This has promise. This has promise, but it's not getting somewhere like Fabricant 100. Fabricant 100 from last year is one where, like, I got hooked from the start. And even, if people told me directly, like, hey, this isn't that good, this feels like a really, like, lame Black Butler, I was still like, no, there's something there. There's something that makes me really like it. Dear Enemy's really the reverse of, like, I kept on waiting for something that I would truly, really, really like. Labellia's design is about it. For everyone else, it was just like, this is okay. I like the idea of, like the one guy whose gag is that, this girl thinks that I'm super strong. But yeah, it's just fine. Even like the way Anemone fights is cool, but it's the most like, you're good because you're really strong. Can't say it was very good. I don't know if it's an F. I don't know if it's a failure. Like that's it. An F is a failure. But I think it has to be. Again, I'm being sucked into the same trap that I was in for all of these reactions. And you can watch the reactions. I'm constantly waiting for it to get better. I'm constantly giving it the benefit of the doubt. The series has been over for like more like 3/4 of a year at this point. I can't give it the benefit of the doubt. It's an F. It failed. It failed to be good. It tried to be Hell's Paradise and it failed. I mean, I'm also just a sucker. I love furries. If you're gonna do animal people, I'm kind of into it. But yeah, drats. It almost got me again. Now, Astro Royale, I think is better, but it's definitely on the edge. I'm always on the edge of dropping it. Astro Royale definitely feels like the kind of series that if it gets an anime, it's going to pop off and everyone's going to be like, damn, this shit's so good. But I know, it's okay. Every arc, I think, starts off pretty bad. Just outright. I think every arc starts bad, and then it gets to a point where I'm like, you know what? This is cooking. And then we reset, and it's bad again. we have to cook again. But when it is cooking, it manages to do some great climaxes. It has a lot of great ideas. In preparation, actually, like when the series came out, I proceeded to finally go and read all of Tokyo Manji Squad. No, Tokyo Manji Revengers. I forgot about the most impressive part of the name. But yeah, I love Tomon. It's great. It's, it fumbles a little bit here and there, but I think in general, like, I get why it's one of the most popular manga of all time. Like, there are parts I'm not a big fan of, but I do honestly really like the bones of it. I like the premise as well. It's very strong. I do think genuinely Astro Royale isn't quite as strong. Like, the art isn't quite as good. The premise is, like, very interesting. It's got a lot of potential to it, but again, I'm saying potential again. I was just saying that, Dear Anemone. I'm definitely the kind of person who can gaslight myself when it comes to do I like something or not. I think I like Astro Royale enough, but I don't love it. It's not a series I actually like. It's a series that I'm reading kind of on the basis of this might be big. It did hook me more than Kagurabachi, which I think is also the problem there. There's always the possibility that Astro Royale is going to get canned, and then I'll be like, damn, I should have started Kagurabachi. But yeah, I do think it's quite distinctive. I think, the art is not my favorite. Again, I do think it's a big step down from Tokyo Revengers. I do think, the execution of it is pretty good, but, Kinpa's one of my favorite characters, and Kinpa looks fucking awful sometimes. Truly. But yeah, it's very up and down. Right now, I would give it, a D, honestly. I'm also finally at the point that, from here on out, I can just talk about the entire series, because all of these have run for, they all started in 2024. As if I wasn't secretly talking about a lot of the entire series as a whole for a lot of the other ones as well. But, the ranking was always okay, I am going to try and restrict this. Here, I don't have to worry about that. So yeah, all of Astro Royale, I think, is ultimately a D. And I would give it, a pretty low D as well. I think it's above MamaYuyu. Let's not be crazy here. But yeah, it's, right here. It's right on the edge. It truly is, this is the dividing line of, is it worth continuing to read or not? Astro Royale is definitely hanging out there. We'll see. We'll definitely see how it goes. Because I also might do a bit of a swap. There's always the possibility that instead of Astro Royale, I'll just agree to do some Kagurabachi every week. In every jump, I'll just do 7 Kagurabachi chapters until we catch up. After that, we've got Kyokuto Necromance, bad F. Kyokuto Necromance is one that I dropped pretty quickly. I did read the whole thing afterwards. Which one is Kyokuto Necromance? It's either this one or this one. It's one of these two. Do we have... Yeah, we don't have a volume 1. Yeah, up until this point, I've been able to look at them and be like, I'm pretty sure I know what this is. Looking at what we have left, I think this one is Kyokuto Necromance. Yeah. Let me check. Oh, that's it? Yeah, okay. So yeah, that is this one. What the fuck is this one then? Oh, is that? Oh man, actually, that might be Murakami. Yeah, I do remember the Murakami cover being surprisingly edgy. But yeah, as you can see, we're also definitely entering the era where I was definitely freaking out over Kyokuto Necromance ending, Murakami starting, and Kiyoshi also starting, where I was just like, what the fuck are we doing? We have ended a series that is generic as fuck to make space for more generic as fuck slop, and then immediately Murakami and Kiyoshi were both not generic as fuck. Sometimes I gotta bite my tongue. But yeah, Kyokuto Necromance, I've read all of. It's a shittier version of Aliens Area. That's really it. F. That's the big problem with it. Everything that is good about Kyokuto Necromance was better in Aliens Area. And if you liked Kyokuto Necromance and you haven't read Aliens Area, go back, read Aliens Area. It is truly, it's more Men in Black core as opposed to Exorcist-y. Also, we don't have the smoke effect. The smoke effect looks so fucking stupid. It's so bad. It is the most I have pasted an effect onto the page look in existence. It never looks good. But yeah, the same dynamic of what if there was an older guy who, is really, really, really strong and he's part of the organization, and our main character is a younger guy who has an ability that he can't quite control, and it's weird and mysterious. And now he needs to be mentored as he, explores this brand new world. All that, done much better in Aliens Area, but Aliens Area also, it has an interesting message about, immigration, both in the sense of, genuine tolerance, while also having the layer of, listen, sometimes you gotta solve problems. It managed to hit a note that I thought was actually surprisingly good, which I was not expecting. Whereas Kyokuto Necromance, it's just a yokai series. It's a yokai series, and it looks bad. The art is worse, I'm pretty sure, than Aliens Area. The power system, quote unquote, not that interesting. It's okay at most. The ending is crazy as well. The ending of, if you don't remember, is the most you were definitely setting this up for how do I put it? This is the most we were supposed to build up to this. It is a big, change of what the title means. Clearly the mangaka thought of it from the very start, but this is such a clear, you didn't have time to build this up. And so you kind of just had the final fight happen. And then, did a big resurrection, did a big twist here. The whole bit here where she's like, hello, yes, I look a lot I look like Chitari. I killed your grandma. If you want your grandma to be alive, you gotta marry me. It's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. It's not good. It just isn't. There's a lot of ideas. There's not that many ideas, though. Again, if I say a lot of ideas, I'm thinking of something like MamaYuyu, or I'm thinking of New Age Exorcist. No, New Age Exorcist does not have enough ideas. It has more ideas than Kyokuto Necromance. Kyokuto Necromance is the most, clearly, he took a lot of what he thought worked from Aliens Area and retrofitted it for something that is more generic that people might like. But you can sense the feeling of disdain, I feel like, that the mangaka has for his own series in Kyokuto Necromance. It is the most, I've just engineered this. Hopefully it'll work. After that, we've got Psych House. Psych House, exact opposite vibes. Psych House is great. Yeah, it's, it's a little generic. Chapter 1, I think, bangs. The rest of the series is very fun. It's about psychics hanging out in the house. They each got an ability. It's easy to wrap your head around. We have shenanigans with the abilities. It's like a shittier Witch Watch. That's the good and the bad of it. Even a shitty Witch Watch is still, it's like Witch Watch. It's pretty damn good. We never really got into the serious arc as well. So, it was mainly just slice of life with powers, It's cutting a little, it's a little in the RuriDragon vein, but it's more traditional. RuriDragon, I think, it has a tone that is truly, genuinely unique. And that's why no one can, imitate it. That's why it throws people off so much, because they've never read anything quite like it. Even if you say, oh, it's like a slice of life, it's not the same. It has a truly unique flavor. Psych House does not have a true flavor. Psych House is the most it's a fine series. It's a fine series. It'd probably do fine if it wasn't running in Jump. I don't really want more of it. It's okay. We had a good beginning, middle, and end. It ran exactly as much as I needed it to. It's fine. It's perfectly fine. Like, I would still recommend it as just like, hey, it's a short read. You want to read a short series? Read Psych House. It's fun. It's, you know, it's nice. But yeah, nothing special. Definitely like yeah, it's one I might read if I'm just, you know, enjoying myself, but maybe not. Yeah, like low D, I think. Again, like Astro Royale, I'm still reading. I'm still on the fence with. Psych House, I did read from beginning to end off channel, and I thought it was, you know, it's a perfectly reasonable, this is below Astro Royale series. Next is, of course, Yokai Buster Murakami. Banger. This is one that I think needed to survive. I think it's actually fine where it ended, because truly, like, I think the mangaka understood that he was running out of time and was just like, let's just go. I mean, also, to be fair, the series has a very, like, Undead Unluck-esque, like, pacing to it. It is a constant, like, hey, Daiki Ihara, I love him. You know, this didn't run as long as his previous series. The Bodyguard series. I can't remember its name right now. But yeah, like it has a more restrained energy that is still extremely fun. Like that series, I think was I gotta look it up now because I want to reread it actually. Yeah, Protect Me Shugamaru. Yeah, Protect Me Shugamaru I think is ultimately a more flawed series, but still really, really, really fun. Whereas Murakami I think is less flawed, but like maybe a little less crazy, but also it had less time to be crazy, and it's still crazy. It's still insane. Like, just the general premise of I'm gonna dunk on yokai is very funny, and just the idea that the series continues to escalate and escalate and escalate. Just the idea that we do end the series and it's like, yeah, we covered so much ground. Our cute little shitty exorcist boy who can barely use exorcism is now the head of the Exorcist Association. He is also the head of Yokai Academy. He is the most powerful guy. Everyone loves him. Murakami is very content to just being the kingmaker. Like, he's just there to, like, you know, to keep his little buddy alive. The whole, like, cuck chapter, I think, is one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Oh, I can't read it again. You can't do this to me. The cuck chapter is me. Oh, but yeah, the whole chapter where Murakami sits on, what was it again? Dropsy's stool? But yeah, where he sits on the cursed stool, and the stool kills him, and then, what is his name? Shit. It's got an unbelievably cute name. Oh, it's, Kuin. But yeah, the whole bit where Kuin's like, oh, I'm gonna nail you so much, I want to suck your dick because you killed my best friend. It's incredible. I love it. And, like, the series is so good when it's playing into the insanity of it. There's the whole, like, Mary, I think, is still my favorite yokai in the entire series. She's so genuinely funny. I'm a fan of the Dark Horse as well, so, yeah, I do think, Nine-Tailed Fox Girl was, like, she had more riding on her. She was designed to be more likable, and that might have also technically been a little bit of why I didn't like her as much. But I think part of it's also just, you know, Mary is, you know, like, she's way more of a, like, serious bouquet. The whole bit where they're, like, boiling themselves to make soup using their own flavors so they can give it to their boyfriends is incredible. Like, the series is also just willing to go there with everyone. It is willing to do the hard, like, this is actually crazy. We're not going to do a half step. We're going to do a full step. This is manga. Let's just do it. It's something I do appreciate about Daiki Ihara. Like, Shugamaru was very similar about that. There's a lot of stuff where you'd be like, surely they won't. And then the series just does it. You know, we have so many good fight scenes in Murakami where it's like, you know, like like even if his, like, art isn't the very best, the concepts are so insane that they work so well. Like, truly, I don't know if I'll ever forget in Shugamaru, the whole bit where Shugamaru picks up the entire west wing of the school and smashes it into the south wing of the school. It's such a good gag. It's such a cool move. Similarly with Murakami, I mean, the chair thing is obviously always in my mind 24/7, but also the bit where they're fighting, I think, was it just the Oni or the Tengu? No, we've seen the Tengu. I think it was just, like, Oni Man. And they do, like, a combo move where Ms. Mary, you know, uses her teleportation to, like, you know, to snipe him. It's so sick. It's so cool. There's so much awesome shit in Murakami. And also, Kuin just being the ultimate most powerful femboy in Jump. Or at least he's in the brackets. I think in terms of, like, where he is by the end of the series, I think, like, officially he's the strongest. But, you know, it's a real, like, officially he's the strongest. He will bow down to anyone who manages to challenge him for the title. I do think, of course, Nagisa from Assassination Classroom is probably the most powerful femboy in Shonen Jump history. I guess it depends. Like, if Queen has Murakami, I think the two of them could probably defeat Nagisa. Anyways, yeah, Murakami slapped. It did nothing wrong. It truly did nothing wrong. Shouldn't have been canceled. Great series. Hell yeah. Yeah, this is also definitely the cover of Shigaru now that I'm looking at it. Hell yeah. Or not Shigaru. Murakami. I might put it in a B. I might give it a B, honestly. I really, really liked Murakami. I was going to bat for Murakami. I was willing to let Murakami be one of the pillars of Jump. Like, it wasn't there, but it's one where it's like, if it could have kept on going forever, I think it would have become, like, the iconic series. Because I think it, like, how do I put it? As a gag series, I think it is also very different from a lot of the other gag series. Like, we've had other supernatural gag series, absolutely. I still love Psyche, but I think Murakami definitely had an interesting middle ground of being able to, like, because it had the ability to just dunk on things. I think it could have, like, definitely wormed its way into a position where it is the constant, like, a series that can dunk on ideas that other series might be doing or have done in the past. If I could pitch a chapter for Murakami, for sure, I've been thinking about this forever. I wanted a chapter where they fight Ulquiorra from Bleach. I think it'd be extremely funny if they fought Ulquiorra. And, like, here's my premise. I'm pretty sure I brought this up in the first couple of chapters, actually. But, like, fictional characters are the new yokai. Like, in the sense, well, like, yokai are, like, beings that exist through mythology. And, like, Murakami itself was very, like, happy to talk about that. Just the idea of, like, like, because someone out there once said the Tengu can do this, the Tengu can do this. It doesn't matter, like, if this guy specifically didn't do it. It's all about the story. And because, the Tengu themselves or the Kappa or whatnot can cite the story, they also have that ability. I think, I think that would be really funny to then, like, lean into something like Slender Man, for instance. Like, okay, we're fighting Slender Man, and Slender Man has all the abilities that people online are talking about in regards to Slender Man's. Like, Jesus Christ, he's so powerful. How do we beat him? I think that would have been a really fun direction to take the series. It'd also be, like, the reason I'm so fixated on Ulquiorra is just the idea of, like, people talking about, like, demons and monsters and, enemy types in Jump series would have been a really funny direction to take. It'd be very different for the series. But I love the idea of people wanking Ulquiorra so hard that he manifests in reality, and then they have to fight Ulquiorra. I just want to see Ulquiorra's power from power beyond resurrection from like from the mobile game, but I want to debut not in Bleach but in a different series. I think it also helps that Murakami, it never really hit the heights of Shikamaru in terms of sheer, like, abuse of IP. Shikamaru was willing to, like, they were constantly playing Yu-Gi-Oh! They also, they did a full crossover. I'll still never forget, one of the funniest chapters of Shikamaru to me is the chapter where they do an entire send-off for Magu-chan. Magu-chan had, like, a proper ending with a proper epilogue and all that. And then Daiki Hira was like, I'm so sad that Magu-chan is over, that I'm going to do a new chapter of my series where all the characters from Magu-chan show up and we do another finale for it. And then his series ran for, like, half the length of Magu-chan and no one did it for him. It's insane. But that's why I love Daiki. He's so fucking good. Anyways, we gotta move on from the Murakami suck train. We've got Kiyoshi. Kiyoshi, I don't think I can actually speak on. Crazy, because I do think Kiyoshi maybe has the chops to be better. But yeah, this is the one I'm going to put in didn't read enough. Because yeah, like, I read the first 8 or 9 chapters up to the kid who has his own, like, demon friend who's just hanging out with him all the time. Or, like, he didn't know he was a demon, and then Kiyoshi had to be like, hey, bud, you're a demon? But yeah, it's fun. As someone who is currently reading Soul Eater, it definitely borrows a lot from Soul Eater's style. It's not quite as inventive, but it is still very cool. It managed to get across a lot of things that, again, like, are very spicy right now, that people are very into. Our main character is overpowered from the start. He's super strong, but he's got a weakness that's more, like, character-based. We can do, he's a very kind person. We're playing off of that a lot. But yeah, like, it just didn't have the sauce, so I can't really say too much about it. Like, it had a lot of stuff that I thought inherently I was looking at it and I was like, people are gonna like this. But it's not even on the level of Astro Royale, where Astro Royale is like, I can see why people like this, and also I do actually like it. There's definitely a different flavor to, I can see why people like this, but I don't want to read it myself, even in my spare time. But I don't know. Like, I'm not reading it now, so I might just read it off channel, see how it feels. The haven't reads are really the only things where I'm like for sure saying directly, I'm not reading these off channel either. Let's see. We got Hima-Ten. Oh, it won't load. I loaded this already, though. Like, yeah, all of these... Well, I guess, to be fair, I didn't actually load the chapters for these, damn. Yeah, come on. You could give me Hima-Ten Chapter 24. Well, just imagine Hima-Ten. Hima-Ten honestly made me appreciate Blue Box a lot more. Like, I think I'm going to switch from, like, catching up in, like, big bursts from Blue Box to, like, I'm trying to be, like, maybe not, like, weekly with it, but, you know, at least, like, bi-weekly or so. Because, you know, a big part of Blue Box, as I said in the Blue Box section, is Chinatsu, and just the idea of, like, I can draw Chinatsu real good, says the mangaka, and then the mangaka does do it, and you go, damn, that's a good Chinatsu. Hima-Ten feels like the mangaka is saying Himari has that, like, that feeling to her. Like, she should be that attractive. You should like her like that. But she's so normal. She is aggressively normal. There is nothing special about the way she looks or is drawn. Whereas Chinatsu, I think, both has a, like, special look to her and also is drawn like, you know, like an angel. Like, it is crazy. You look at any image of, like, you know, nowadays, I think she's drawn a little more normally. But I think, you know, like, the effect still persists. I do think she is still, like, much more attractive than Himari. Again, keep in mind, I am maybe 0.01% heterosexual. I think there's a little bit inside of me. Like, unironically, I've definitely played it off as, like, 0%. And to be fair, a lot of the reason I do that is because I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Every time I've tried to act like I know what I'm talking about, everyone immediately senses you don't know what the fuck you're talking about when you talk about any theoretical attraction to women. But I'm sure there's something in there. Because I can look at Chinatsu and go, I get why Roboco is in love with her. I get why everyone is in love with her. I get why Taiki, you know, like, before he understood her, was in love with her. And then, you know, now that he understands her, like, you know, like, he sees her as more human, but, you know, he is still deeply, deeply, deeply in love with her. I get why. I don't know why the fuck the guy in Hima-Ten likes Hima-Ten, or, like, Himari. I guess 10 is the other guy. But yeah, I haven't read all the way up to the present chapter. Where did I leave off? Oh, I guess it's going to say chapter 24, because I was trying to load chapter 24. I don't know if I actually got all the way to chapter 24, but yeah, I don't give a shit about Himari. That's really it. Their relationship is not great. I do think it's being built well. I do think, like, you know, just the concept of the cleaning is done very well. I was very afraid we were going to do a gal cleaning situation with Hima-Ten, where the mangaka goes insane. But no such luck or folly. Instead, like, you know, the cleaning has been very sensical. The only thing I don't really like is I do think the separation between the two of them. Again, I think that's why it feels a little like Blue Box. Blue Box, every step of the way that we've had the separation between our two main characters, I think it's made an incredible amount of sense. Like, emotionally, the way both characters are perceiving the situation, how they're shifting around, like, in, you know, trying to make room for each other while misunderstanding it just a little bit, like, just enough. But they mainly understand the situation. It is just, like, you know, there's a layer of, like, you know, they want to try and not, like, freak out the other person. But, you know, in doing so, they're, like, acting a little too, like, you know, like, wary. Which is then, like, creating a little more distance, you know, like, all leading up to the modern, you know, the modern chapters, where, like, even then, like, even more of the distance has been crushed and crushed and crushed and crushed as more and more people are knowing, as they're, like, hiding it less and less and less. Like, I think the way it's paced out is incredible. Hima-Ten, I think part of it is genuine. I don't like Himari. I think part of it is truly just, you know, the fact that, you know, so many of the gags are, you know, so many of the early chapters especially were just like, oh, I want to pass myself off as someone who can cook really well, but I can't cook, and I'm not going to put a ton of effort into learning how to cook, so you just have to cook my meals for me. And then I'll go to school with you and just be like, damn, I cooked this, it's great, I don't know anything about it, though. I think a girl with more riz would be able to pull it off. But for a woman who has a brand called Himariz, Himari has no goddamn riz. She sucks. I hate her. She's so generic. Any girl in Sidcraft has 10 times the cute potential of Himarin. I don't know how she became a household sensation. I mean, the makeup has got to be incredible, because damn, she ain't selling it well. Dear God. But I do appreciate it because, like, you know, similarly to a lot of, like, series that I like to a degree, sometimes you gotta see it being done a bit worse to understand like what the creator is doing really well in the series you really like. Like, unironically, I don't mean it as a dunk on Hima-Ten, but truly, like, it has made me appreciate Blue Box a lot more because I don't read a lot of series like Blue Box. Like, similarly, like, Blue Box is, a badminton series, a basketball series, and also a romance. Hima-Ten is a romance, a a luxury brand, like a new age. Like, I'm sponsoring a brand, I'm doing a brand, I'm launching a brand off the ground. I got a TikTok shop, like that kind of situation. And also, I'm a professional cleaner. Like, it is very similar in that degree, even if the things they're doing are very different. And I think all the cleaning stuff I'm really into. And I, in theory, am very into, like fashion stuff and, like the idea. Like, I'm open to the concept of learning more and more about makeup and whatnot. But damn, Himari just is so bad at getting across why I should care. She's so unlikable, and she isn't cute. Okay, we gotta stop. Right into F. I swear to God, I'm not trying to even these out. It did work out this way, but I genuinely swear I didn't realize this. But okay, let's hear the last ones go. I mean, I literally cannot even this out, because one of these has to become the one, and then I've got 4 more, and those will go wherever. Like, let's see. We've got Ichi the Witch. Ichi the Witch, genuinely, it feels like it has the potential to be a big tentpole. It's not quite there. Like, it's in a similar space to Astro Royale. Like, both of them, I think, have this feeling of, this could be the next thing, but because it gives me that feeling of it could, it isn't, Like, reading Bleach Naruto, to be fair, like, Bleach Naruto were gigantic by the time I got to read them even. Like, even so, like, so it's hard to, like, scale it, But when I first got into Bleach, it was at my, it couldn't have still been grade school, right? I think it was later grade school. I don't think I was in middle school yet. Yeah, that was grade school. Jesus Christ, I'm old. But yeah, that would make sense because they're both like early 2000 series. Oh my God. But yeah, like, for whatever reason, the library, like, at my school had Bleach, and specifically, I think volume 12 or 13, there was a volume of Bleach in the room, how do I put it, like, in my grades just like section where we would have like a shelf of books that were supposed to stay within our area. There's just a volume of Bleach, and I read it and I was like, damn, this is the coolest shit ever. I don't know what's going on. So I went to the actual library and read the entire series up to where it was at the time, and God, it immediately hit me with this feeling of, like, just, this is the coolest shit for real. And so I do think that's definitely, like, in my heart right now. I try not to say this a ton in the reactions themselves, I think it kind of sucks to, to be enjoying something and then for, the person who's, reading it to also be like, this kind of sucks. But yeah, Astro Royale and Ichi the Witch are still in this, like, mid-period of, they kind of suck a bit. I think Ichi less so than Astro Royale. Like, Ichi is genuinely very fresh. It's doing a lot of stuff that I'm really, really, really enjoying. The cast is banging as well. Like, with Astro Royale, I theoretically love a lot of the cast. In theory. With Ichi, I do actually like our main trio so much right now. They're great. Ichi and Descaros are great. The other girl whose name I don't remember right now is, like, she's fun as a, like, as a side character. She feels a lot like the mascot, even though we have a literal mascot character. But yeah, just the dynamics between everyone is really, really fun. But the challenges can be a bit of anything. I appreciate also the pace of it. Like, as much as, it's not hooking me, at the same time, it's like, well, that is not a negative. Like, I appreciate that we've gone kind of slow. I say, as the arc I'm currently in is a super gigantic end of the world arc. So maybe you can't, in fact, go slow and jump. Maybe you do have to kind of go insane. But yeah, like, right now, I'm enjoying it quite a bit. Realistically, like, it's a series I would already recommend to people. But it's one where it's like, yeah, if they're not super into it, I wouldn't be like, damn, you should give it another shot. I would be like, yeah, you know what, fair. It might be a high D, honestly. It's either a high D or, like, a low C. It's one of these two. Because, yeah, like, I think the way to put it is, yeah, like, when I was reading Martial Master Asumi, I'm going to move that higher. Because yeah, when I was reading Asumi, I was saying over and over and over again, this is a tentpole of Jump. And even though I'm just ranking the last couple of chapters compared to all of like all of Ichi, I was still so invested in those last couple of chapters. Whereas all of Ichi, I like it. I don't know if I'm invested. That's the thing. Like, where we are right now, I'm still kind of just, I'm seeing where it's going. Same with Astro Royale. I'm not invested. Whereas like a lot of, like any series in C, I have genuine investment in. There are characters that I can rant to you about. There are characters that I can glaze. And I think, Asumi is similar. I can rant and glaze and whatnot, but not really about the very, very, very end. So yeah, I think it's got to stay there. Like, yeah, I like Ichi a lot. I like Descartes a lot. They're really the two. It reminds me a lot of like early on when I was asking people like, should I like, we're a couple of volumes in, we're maybe around like chapter 20 of Jujutsu Kaisen. I was like, hey, should I get into Jujutsu Kaisen? And everyone's singular thing was just, let me explain Gojo to you. Once I describe how Gojo's curse technique works, surely you'll read the series. It's like, well, yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool. I do think it's cool sounding, but also, surely this is the only thing you're reading the series for, right? Similarly, like, describing Descartes and describing Ichi are really the only things I could do to say the series is really good. Like, I can describe the whole, like, like, the whole, like, fish arc, and that's cool. I like it, but it sounds a lot better if I say it out loud as opposed to actually reading it. Reading it, it did, it was fun, but it didn't make me go, like, damn, 10 out of 10. That's really it. We've had very little that makes me go, damn, 10 out of 10. Let's see, Shinobi Undercover? Bad. Shinobi Undercover is what made me go Kill Blue saying unbelievably good. If Hima-Ten did that for Blue Box, then Shinobi Undercover did that for Kill Blue. It really made me look at Kill Blue in another light and made me go like, you know what? There are some things I'm not super a fan of in Kill Blue. Kill Blue is still fucking great. Shinobi Undercover, number 1. Yodaka doesn't wear his goddamn Shinobi outfit at all. He doesn't do it. He does do the, this. He is a ninja. He does do the ninja sign. But, like, it really feels like it's just, it's doing a lot of the beats of Kill Blue. It's doing a lot of the, like, let's secretly, be super cool in the shadows. Like, like, I'm going to protect a girl who is a rich girl. I do like the girl, actually, a lot in Shinobi Undercover. Like, I think she's actually very fun. And I do like the idea of someone who is, like, super socially inept. Like getting this connection to the social butterfly who is still, like, very physically inept. And the two of them growing together. But I mean, at the same time, that feels kind of similar to, like in Kiyoshi. And Kiyoshi also, it didn't really get me with the whole social ineptness thing. It was fine. I think it is that combination of, like, I don't know if I'm just not into a protagonist whose whole deal is, I kind of suck, but also I'm actually really, really cool when you can't see me. As long as no one's looking, I'm a real badass. But yeah, it's not like a hard negative or anything. It's just, yeah, I'm not really feeling it. But yeah, everything else about Shinobi Undercover just gave me this constant feeling of, I wish I was reading Kill Blue instead. F. I'm not going to give it a didn't read enough. I've read, like, a good chunk of it. I'm not caught up. I'm not at the most recent chapter, or, like, the chapter before that. I think I made it to 13. Where am I? 6! Jesus Christ! I think I may have clicked backwards. Surely I wasn't at chapter 6. Surely. I remember reading more of this. I appreciate we have a character named Dumineko, or codenamed Dumineko. The whole, like, situation as well of, like, there's 3 of you, and we've, like, set up one of you to be the boyfriend, one of you to be the best friend, and one of you to just, like hang out in the shadows, and then our main character ended up being the best friend, maybe boyfriend. It's, it's alright. It's not that much. Hakutaku slaps. Holy shit. Hakutaku feels like, it feels like I want it to be a pillar. It gives me that double feeling of, because I like it so much, it's gonna get canned, but I don't want it to. It's so good. It is making game dev so cool. It's making, like, programming look badass. I love it. Our 2 main characters are great. Our main character is straight up, I was just dunking on it, but no, he's someone who is extremely socially inept, but he's extremely cool when you're not looking. And I think that actually really, really does work for a series like Hakutaku, like one that is, not about I'm secretly super strong, but instead, like, I love making people happy. He's a people pleaser. He gets the big dopamine orgasm. The dopamine orgasm is definitely, like, a big thing I'm going to remember always. But honestly, the games are also so good. Every game has, like, at least, like, the first time we see it and we see the visual, like, they all give me that feeling of, this is so cool. I appreciate that every game feels like something that they could make, and the series goes out of its way to explain, like, yeah, by the way, that you had to use a bunch of free assets, and they had to do this, they had to do that. It only works within these parameters, and we've been, like, loosening that up as they've gotten better and better and better and better. Like, even the most recent game that they're working on is using a ton of legacy code from someone who was a professional, and we're reusing it, and, like, we took pictures of all the assets, and it's a big grind. It justifies everything in a way that I can fully accept. And yeah, like, our two main characters slap so much. I love them both. They're awesome. I mean, CO now is a great addition. I like him a lot. The whole arc we're doing now, like, pitching to the various, like, the devs who are, like, the judges for this new indie tournament. I really, really, really like it. I think just, like, it feels a lot like 2 on Ice, which is a little dangerous, but it really is, like, this is a manga about something I've never seen before that feels like a real underdog, like, thing to pick, like, indie game dev, while at the same time, it makes a lot of sense. Like, something like Robot Laser Beam, or, like 2 on Ice had to really sell me on the idea of, like, listen, it's a big deal that we're doing double skating, or that we're doing a golf among, like, teenagers. Like, seriously, this is a lot bigger than you think it is. Even Akane-banashi, it put a lot of effort into having to explain, yes, don't worry, we're in the Rokugo Renaissance, I swear, people give a shit about Rokugo. I think Hakutaku, it helps that I do like gaming stuff. I'm not a big gamer myself, but I like gaming news and whatnot. I do play some games. It's something where I can definitely see it being so exciting. Just the idea that they want to be on the Game Awards is so fucking funny, and yet it makes a lot of sense. They want to do an indie game that, wins Game of the Year at the Game Awards. And that has happened, but not quite in the way they're doing it right now. Like, it might happen this year. I haven't seen the new Game Awards or anything. I know a lot of people were like, all the shit that could win is all old shit. Let Blatro win. And Blatro would be the exact kind of thing that someone, that like the Hakutaku devs could potentially do. And yet I think that, like, the VR, like, AR stuff that they're doing right now really also helps change how the series is doing things. In that, they can still do, like, smaller stuff that feels more genuinely indie, but they can also create visuals that are, like, big and stunning, and, that'll play really good on 2-page spread. Like, Hideout Plan is genuinely so cool, both in terms of, like, it's so cool as an idea for a game, it's something I could see getting really big, and it allows them to do visuals that look really, really great, that really flex the artist's skills. Yeah, it's so good. And also, like, right now, I really appreciate, the way we've escalated from, like, the what if 2 people had, like, 3 weeks to grind out something that is essentially just, we're just trying to, fulfill an assignment, but we're going to do it really good, to then, let's do, like, a game that's, a little more professional, let's sell this one, let's, like, now we're at the point where, like, we are pitching, like, an evolved version of a game specifically to, like, like, a group that feels like the modern day, like, like, the future versions of ourselves. Like, that's also so cool. I was describing this to Donut. I love the idea of, like, what if the Straw Hats met a, like, what if they could have met Shanks' crew or something? Like, Shanks' crew is a bad idea, because Shanks' crew is just a bunch of guys with guns. Every single person's thing seems to be, I own a gun. But, like, if they could meet a crew that is, like, a fully functional crew that is not antagonistic, and just see, like, okay, what do you guys do? What do you need? To see, like, oh, we could have this kind of guy or this kind of guy. Like, maybe we need more than one navigator, or, maybe we need, like, like the way Jinbei is now, like, like, steering real good, and it's been a kind of an uphill battle to be like, yeah, we need a guy who steers real good. We've been steering all the way up until the very end of the of Paradise, or, not Paradise, the New World, and now we finally need a guy who can steer. Like, I think it would have hit a lot harder if, we saw a bunch of roles, including roles that, we're not going to fill. Like, I really like the idea of Hakutaku, having an indie team where, truly, we can grow as much or as little as we want, and then seeing a full team that's like, hey, we have a guy whose whole thing is just 3D models, not even, like, art design. We have different who just does arts. We have, like, like, 2 different people doing music and, like, devoted to the music, and they're both, like, geniuses in their fields. To then, like, look at our team and be like, it's 3 people. It's 3 people. I've never heard a single person talk about the music in any of these games. I assume it's all, like, free, free license, like, license-free music or royalty-free music. But yeah, Hakutaku, I think, has so fucking much potential. It is so exciting. I don't think I can put it in A tier, but it's like a B easily. Like, I'm so excited for it every week. I think I'm more excited for Murakami than I am for Hakutaku. Murakami, honestly, I'm going to slide. I might put Murakami here. Like, I think it goes Witch Watch. Like, Witch Watch, I also really enjoy because I can read it before the stream. Like, if I'm having a jump itch, I can read a Witch Watch, and I can read, like, like, I've got like 2 other series. I got Kill Blue that I can read sometimes. Sometimes I can catch up with Blue Box. I think it does say a lot about me as well, that a lot of my, like, Bs, like, this is almost A tier, are all the gag series. But yeah, Hakutaku, I think, is pretty darn close there. Oh, I kind of want to move Witch Watch to A now. Because, yeah, like, I think Roboco is, like, the utmost B. It is the most, like, it's really, really, really good, but I can't say it's an A because it is not, like, killing it. It's not banging every single time. Whereas Witch Watch, I do think, is banging every single time. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to do it. We're at A. Because, yeah, it feels, I can feel my own bias when I'm saying, oh, well, but Witch Watch fulfills every requirement of being an A, but I'm going to give it a B. Why? Hakutaku, yeah, I think that's still fine at, like, bottom of B. Because, it's still growing. Again, I love Sakamoto Days. I love RuriDragon. Like, all of these are series I love. And, yeah, like, I think all of Hakutaku beats the final, like, arc of My Hero. I would say it beats Blue Box, it beats Akane-banashi. Yeah, I think we're good. So then we've got Sid Craft at the very end. We only have 6 chapters to judge, but I mean, like, it, for better or for worse, I've also been looking at it as just, like, it's more we never learn. Like, I know Taishi Suzuki is doing something else. I do appreciate that, like, so far the mystery stuff has been actual mystery stuff. It's been built quite well. But yeah, it is a joy. I love reading his work. And I do think, like, even if I take off the glasses, just looking at it objectively, I do genuinely think of that, like, like, Sid Craft is just very well designed. All the characters are really fun. They all have good gimmicks. Sid himself has a fantastic gimmick. It's a series that feels like it can run easily for, like, hundreds of chapters. Like, yeah, I'm excited to read it every single week, and even if it's a little I think it's right up there. It might beat RuriDragon. Because, again, RuriDragon, I really do like, but it's such an interesting feeling. It is the most, like, I'm reading it on stream. I probably shouldn't read it, like, I probably shouldn't read it in the reactions just because, like, it is a series I don't know if I enjoyed more talking about it. I feel like my reactions aren't that good to it, so we'll see. But yeah, and then we've got The One. This one I think is pretty simple. The one for this year, it's gotta be Undead Unluck. Again, it's crazy to think we didn't really know shit about souls until this year. And it already feels like, like, that's the thing. That's the power system. Negator abilities are not the power system. Negator abilities are just a way of, like, it's like, like, it is like, the 6 powers in One Piece compared to hockey. Or, they're edging in on it. They're like, related. But, like, it's all essentially, like, you're manipulating this, like, vital energy. You're manipulating this, like, willpower that everyone has and just doing it in different ways. Like Undead Unluck is incredible. It's been popping off. It's been killing it. We've had so many iconic moments. We've done the Undead Unluck title drop twice. We did it twice in a row with 2 different attacks, and both times I was like, yeah, you know what? Deserved. Hell yeah. The second time around, it was as hype as the first time. That's crazy. Undead Unluck has had me screaming. Undead Unluck has been just, it's been a joy. It's, it's given me heartache. It's been like a child in which I'm like, oh, please make it through. I just want you to be okay. It is the one. Easily. Oh, do I want to change any of the, like, where these are? I don't know. Because let's see. Let's go through them. Undead Unluck, it's the one. Easily. It's the one. In A tier, we've got Hunter x Hunter, One Piece, Elusive Samurai, 2 on Ice, Witch Watch. 2 on Ice, I think, could go to the back. Witch Watch might be better than Elusive Samurai, honestly. Like, yeah, I do like Elusive Samurai a lot. I think Witch Watch is pound for pound better. And then Hunter x Hunter and One Piece. This is, like, the only time where I think, like, truly, the few chapters of Hunter x Hunter does create this weird imbalance of, like, do I like it just because it's, like, because we only had a couple of chapters, didn't have time to fall off? Or is it just so good that, like, it, falling off was never a problem? I think, like, this whole arc has been so damn good. I don't think, like, if we included more chapters before or after, I don't think it would change anything. I think it was just better than One Piece. Full stop. And One Piece had, I think One Piece had as many good chapters as Hunter x Hunter. But I think pacing also has a part to play with it, honestly. Like One Piece, I think, shoots itself in the foot with its pacing sometimes, where I'm like, sometimes I'm very excited. Other times I'm like, I don't really care. Like sometimes, we're like, teasing something out. We spent so long on Vegapunk dicking around, and then Vegapunk actually saying the stuff, but saying it really slow. Yeah, I think for sure, even if I have to wait another year for more Hunter x Hunter, it's worth it. It's worth it. In B tier, we've got Roboco, Murakami, then Sid Kraft, RuriDragon, Sakamoto, Hakutaku. I think that's fine. I might put Murakami above Roboco, but I think Roboco gets to have it. Like, Murakami also definitely has some real, like, chapters, but also, like, even if it is, like, generally it hits my ideals more, I think Roboco as a package is great. We need a femboy. We need a femboy that's good in Roboco. We do have a femboy in Roboco. He sucks. I hate him. He's the worst. He's one of the worst characters. C tier, The End of My Hero, Blue Box, Akane-banashi, Kill Blue, and Cipher Academy. Cipher Academy, again, it's just the ending, so that's got to go low. The End of My Hero, again, it's a good end. I think Blue Box could stand to go a little higher. Akane-banashi is also strong as hell. I think maybe let's move My Hero in the middle there. Because, yeah, Kill Blue, it's good, but, it is a real, like, chapter by chapter, it's fun. It has some high highs, but, a lot of the time, it's no, like, it's no Blue Box. It's definitely no Witch Watch. Yeah, I think that's fine. Asumi, Ichi, Greens. I think these are fine. Yeah, these are fine. Like, with the later ones, I definitely, like, put a little more time into them. It was really just A, where I kind of just, like, slapped them all in. Because, yeah, F tier, to be fair, I also kind of just, like, slapped in as I was doing them. Because, yeah, when it comes to the lowest, the one I would actually care about reading more of, well, I guess F tier means I don't give a fuck. That's really the problem. I am reading Newey's Exorcist. I think that means it wins by default in the F tier. I still am reading it. Hima-Ten, I have been reading. I'm gonna stop though. I'm just gonna stop. It's all good. Yeah, I think this is fine. And yeah, in the Habit Reds, that's not a ranking. This isn't a ranking, so we're good. We're good. That's it. That's the end of the year. Dear God, we're at 4 hours. Why are you watching this? I'll try to cut down some of the pauses and whatnot, but my God, this is a waste of time. Thank you guys so much for enjoying this. Genuinely. If you watched any of this, I'm very happy. If you just, hopped around, totally fine as well. But I'll catch you next year for Next Jump 2025, baby. Let me know what you think. Again, I will make sure to keep this, I'll take the link for this. I'll put it down below. Feel free to send in your images. You can join the Discord server if you want. It's linked down below. I guess just go to Jump and you can post these. Maybe I'll make I doubt anyone's going to do this. None of you guys ever do this stuff. So just post it in the Jump channel. Maybe tag it. And we can talk about it. Because I'm curious to see how other people feel. Especially with the series that I just haven't read. Where would you put these? But if you're reading as much stuff as I am reading, very curious to see where you would put all of this stuff, because there's a lot of stuff that I think could move around. I was genuinely considering Hunter x Hunter for maybe that's the one, but I don't think so. Undead Unluck, Hunter x Hunter, and One Piece were in contention. They were the big three this year. Everything else, not totally sure about. But yeah, I guess that's about it. My wish list for 2025 is I want Roboco to get #1. I'm not gonna be easy on it. I want it to genuinely be the best thing in Jump for at least 1 week. I think Miyazaki-sensei can pull it off. As for everything else, I hope Undead Unluck has a great ending. It seems like we're going towards an ending that's going to be a little bittersweet, and then we're probably going to make it sweet again. We're going to do a big fuck the rules, let's do it, so sick, wicked sick. What else? You know what? I'm going to do all of them. So, One Piece. I hope to get through the first arc of Elbaf. I assume Elbaf's going to be another 3-actor or more. Let's do the setup. Right now we're pretty cool. Shiki might be here. Let's see Shiki. I want some cool backstory stuff. I really want to see what is the height of strength in this world? What do the Giants consider to be the strongest? And then I imagine the world government thinks the Giants are the strongest nation. They've already sent people in to try and potentially destroy Elbaf from within. So, like, what is, like, what's the hierarchy of power? I think that'd be a fun thing to do before the end of the series, to do a full layout. Like, well, now we're at, like, literally the highest peak, we're at the world tree. Like, I highly doubt Almaf's gonna fall. I assume they're gonna just be on our side as we, like, race to the end. But, they can't do that much because they don't have much of a standing military. They have, like, a pirate crew, that's about it. Yeah, I'd like to just sort of see, like, like, how do the Giants see the world? If we have more stuff to talk about as well, if there's anything we can learn from the library, like, let's, let's really prepare ourselves for the big, mad final rush. Hunter x Hunter, I just wanted to come back. I don't give a shit what we see. I just wanted to come back. Tagashi, please, 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 please. I'm really, really glad, like, Hunter x Hunter this year, it looked great. It was great. It was paced great. Like, as long as we keep on going, Tagashi, take the wheel, do whatever you want. My hero, rest in peace. Rest in peace. I don't need anything else from it. I'm gonna watch the movie when the movie comes out. That's basically all I plan to do. If anything else comes out, there's also the there's the spin-off that's just like, all the other stuff. I've read some of that. Team up missions. I'll keep reading team up missions. I've already read all of Vigilantes. I genuinely don't remember if I did that on the channel or not. I don't think I did. But Vigilantes slaps. I heard they're doing an anime. Big recommends. It is great. Arguably, it'll appeal to a lot of people who had some problems with My Hero. I think it's, a great view of the world. It is, I love it. Jujutsu Kaisen, it's over. Maybe I'll read it. I don't think I'm going to read it on the channel. But maybe privately I will read it, and then you can hear my thoughts about it on the channel or on the server or something. I don't know. Let me know. Yozakura family. It's going to end this year. Again, this is another one I might finally read. If so, I'll share my thoughts, but there's no fucking way I'm doing backlog reactions. Hell no. Undead Unluck. All we gotta do is sink the landing. Already said it. All we gotta do is sink the landing. Me and Roboco. Movie, I hope, is really, really good. We'll see if it comes out next year. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to come out next year. If we, let's see when it comes out on Blu-ray, because that's when I'll actually be able to watch it. But I'm hoping it's good. Honestly, going through all of these has really cemented it again. I think Roboco is the only shot we have right now for a jump to establish another character that is iconic. Everyone else truly has that feeling of, they're too specific. They can't be a Luffy. Luffy is iconic. Roboco might be iconic. We might be able to make Roboco iconic. So you know what? I'm going to take the swing and say, Roboco, I hope next year you become the face of Jump. I know One Piece isn't over yet, but I want it to be as iconic as Luffy. And then I want Roboco to continue on forever. Listen, I think Roboco is also the kind of series where they could get some ghostwriters in. Listen, I don't think Miyazaki-sensei needs to be pure about it. As long as he is observing, as long as he's doing a Toriyama with, Super and whatnot. I'm not saying take him out. I'm just saying, let him supervise. Let him, let other people cook some ideas for Roboco chapters. He gets to choose the best one. Maybe they draw it as well. I just want to supervise, I want Roboco to go on forever. And I do want Miyazaki-sensei to continue to cook. Also, I do hope for more of shitty parodies. The parodies are great. Sakamoto Days. I'm so curious how close we are to the end, because, it feels like at any point we might tip over. At the end of, the current arc we're in, we're getting there. So, I guess I just want... there's nothing else we need to do. I want Lou to have some more damn screen time. Listen... Either kill her or let her do something. I would prefer it if you let her do something. Let her do something. She's supposed to be important. Let her family, let the triads back, Slur or something, so then she has some, drama or something. Let her do something. Let her do anything. Let her drink gasoline, and then it'll make her super powerful. And yeah, apart from that, I'd like to see some movement on the Sakamoto's chain. I don't want it to be a time skip and then, we did it, we made a chain. I would like to, to have different outposts. I think that'd be very fun. It would appease my, my conqueror brain. I want, a Civ situation where we, build it out, where we do what we were talking about before of, maybe everyone gets their own, their own branch, and the branches get to be themed after them, and it'll be really fun. Yeah, do that. It'll be fun. Elusive Samurai, where Tokiyuki is an interesting place. I'm curious right now, again, Yusei Matsui, take the wheel. If I had to ask for anything, I'm curious to see, what is the end of Tokiyuki? Because right now, the arc we're in, it felt like it might be the end of Tokiyuki. I don't think it is. I'm curious to see where it is. To get sort of a stretch for it. But if we don't get it, we don't get it. I think it's also fine. But like, yeah, I would like to have more of an idea of like, where are we going? Like, I know the overall idea, but in the same way that, like One Piece is about Luffy becoming the Pirate King, that doesn't really mean much arc to arc. Similarly, Tokiyuki is gonna, he wants to be the Emperor of Japan. He wants, to resurrect the Hojo clan. But, like, what is the next, like, actual feasible goal here? Because for the longest time, it's just been, let's try not to piss off the Southern Court. We got that. He's a free agent now. So, like, what are we materially going to do? We have a bit of an end game as well with, like the special arrowhead. We can use that, like when the time is right to kill our main villain, but also at the same time, like, again, we know it's not going to work. We know Takuji, like, is not going to be killed by Tokiyuki. Tokiyuki's not going to become the emperor. Like, that is just baked into the series. So I'm curious to at least get some hints of, like, what else could we do? How do we win without a clear win? Witch Watch, man, Elusive Samurai and Witch Watch were in the same batch, and they've stayed pretty damn current. That's crazy. But yeah, Witch Watch, next year, it feels like we're already at a turning point right now. So what I want is, I want to see Nico like become an adult again, but I want to do like another serious arc, and I want to go back to shenanigans. I don't want Witch Watch to end. I think it would also kind of suck if it's like, okay, if she becomes an adult, then we do like one final big serious arc and then it's the end. Like, I want her to like be the Witch of Thousands good. I want, the big secrets of Jura. I want to flesh it all out. And I think Witch Watch has been very good about properly fleshing everything out. So yeah, we'll do that. But yeah, I want it to have its time. I don't think it should end next year, so I just want more of it. And I do think it would be fun to like, to also switch up the, because I think we've done a lot of what we can do with young Nico. I don't want it to be like a sudden rubber band situation. I do think, like, if she just consumes enough butterflies to the point where she, she becomes as old as she was when she first met Moy, we could do some fun stuff there. Like, we could, like, parallel a lot of the original season, or the original series, or the original, like, what would be in season 1? I don't know if the anime is even out yet, but I think that'd be a fun way to do the parallel. In the same way that, like, Blue Box got to essentially just, through timing, do a lot of stuff that parallels where the anime was by just having, gone a year ahead over the course of the entire series. Akane-banashi. Akane-banashi is so deeply like, sorry, I skipped Blue Box. Sorry. Blue Box, I think we might truly be near the end. Like, yeah, I want, I guess Taiki needs, like, I don't actually know. Because, yeah, Chinatsu fucked it up. So we need, she needs one more year to, like, go to nationals. But no, is she graduating? Oh, I don't actually remember if this is her final year or not. Shit. But yeah, like, either way, narratively, Chinatsu needs the big win. Taiki has gotten a win, but not, like, the biggest win. So they're still on their journeys. They gotta win. Also, I think we need an arc where Chinatsu, like, where her dad comes back, or where she, like, has to fully come out to everyone, where everyone needs to know these two are in a relationship and it's fine. And I think we'll do that. My idea is that we're probably going to, like, build up a lot of tension, and then, like, we'll resolve that before we do, like, our, like, finals for both of them. And that'll be the hard, like, everyone is now on your side. There are no more secrets, no more lies. We can both go forward with, like, maximum force and cheer each other on, like, screaming, from the, from the stands. Though, even though, like, like, Chinatsu's already screamed for Taiki, Taiki's already screamed for Chinatsu, but, like, I think it'll be different if, like, their friends and family can also do it. Akane-banashi, of course. Akane is now under Isho's provision. I imagine this is the year of Isho. I don't think he's gonna hang out with her that much, though. I think there will be some hanging out with her, but I feel like he's gonna send her away. Like, I feel like, it's gonna be a real, like, listen, if you need, like, if you, know this much about our past, then you should, like, go see what our parent, like, school is like. And he'll send her to be taught by, like, Moroku or something. Or, like, the current Moroku. I think that'd actually be really, really cool. But yeah, just the idea that he's, like, she'll have to, like, defer mainly to Isho, and that Isho can cut her off whenever he wants. He can also, like, just, I think he's going to be a little wicked to her, but not in a bad way. In a true, like, I want to see if you got what you got. Even in a, like, I can see some of my, some of my master inside of you, and I want to bring it out further and further and further. So yeah, very excited. RuriDragon, we're almost done the festival, and the festival has been the vast majority of the series, so I'm very excited to see, like, what else we do. Again, it's a real let him cook, take the wheel. If I had to say something I do think this year, actually, it would be nice for her to meet her dad. I think that'd be cool. Like, we brought up her dad multiple times. It's the kind of thing where if we stretch it out for too long, I think it's going to be a little silly. So I do think it might be something where, like, she has to evolve to a certain point before, she can, like, safely go to their, like, familial ground or something. But yeah, I don't want to, like, reveal all the secrets, though. That might be a big one. I think it's got to be, like, she can't go to where he lives, but he has to come to her. Whether it is as a dragon or, like, as a human. A lot of people have been coming up with the idea of, like, he's going to turn into a human, or, he turned into a human and had sex with her mom. I really wanted to stay a dragon. I think that'd be extremely funny. So yeah, I'm imagining, because I think that would also be really cool if he, like, if it's like this, like the parent-teacher conference, for instance, and we're building that up, and like her mom is sick, and so her dad has to come, and so the first time anyone sees him, including her, he comes as a full-on dragon. He lands in like the sports area. They got to do it outside. I think that'd be extremely funny. But yeah, we'll see if she gets more powers and whatnot. I mean, for sure she will. Cipher Academy. It's done. Nisio-Isin, do whatever you want to do. I have not seen the new Monogatari stuff, so that's my plan. I gotta watch the new Monogatari seasons. Maybe eventually I'll read the LNs. By the way, I have actually, I've listened to the audiobook for Kizu. Oh man, I want to listen to more of the audiobooks, because the Kizu audiobook, the only way I can describe it is it's done like a real audiobook as opposed to an anime audiobook. And I think it does genuinely, it really does highlight the series in a very different way. Like, just the idea of hearing Araragi, not, envisioning not like a cartoon character, but like an actual person, contrasted with how fucking crazy Nisio-Isin's writing is. It's a really unique experience. I actually really, really like it. I would highly recommend it. Like, I love the Shaft adaptation. Don't get me wrong. It is still definitive. It is incredible. But there's something to the audiobook that is also really satisfying. But yeah, like Cipher Academy, I truly, like, yeah, it's not getting physical volumes. There's no way. We're not getting the volume extras, but I would love to read the volume extras as well. But yeah, it's good where it is. It was a good series. We can leave it there. Kill Blue. I want to know more about Norin. That's really it. That's the big one. Like, that's the big mystery, and I think we can solve that mystery without, like, spoiling the series. So I'd like that this year. But yeah, it's also one where it's like, I'm fine with just, it continuing as much as it wants to. Like, it understands what it is doing. It is cooking. It's great. I love the balance. Jump, do not cancel it. New Ace Exorcist, I want it to be good. I really should stop. I should just stop reading it. But, it is the kind of thing where, like, it's just good enough. And there are, like, glimpses of stuff I really like. Like, oh, I just remembered what I was going to talk about before I got interrupted. I really, really liked the bit where he was getting his level 3 power-up, I believe. It's whatever he's currently on. They're fighting level 4s, so I think he's a level 3 right now. But where Nue, like, was like, hey, you have to unlock one of these powers. I've got, I've got 3 of them. 2 of them are gonna fuck you up. One of them is the one you need to pick. Like, I'm really sorry about this. And he's like, okay, I can tell immediately. Like, surely, if you're doing this to me, like, this seems really arbitrary. There must have been more choices. Like, you filtered this for me. And she's like, yeah, there were like 200. There are like 200 choices, and I filtered them down to 3. I genuinely don't know which one is correct. Like, there are moments. There are moments between all of them. Like, all the girls have had a good Gaku moment with him. It's just, they're working with cardboard. They're working with cardboard. They can only do so much to carry the series. Asumi, come back, please. I need it to come back. If not, at the very least, Kawada, like, please, 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 do another series. Because, yeah, I do think, truly, I just want more MMA stuff. Truly, like, I've read other stuff as well. Like, I've been reading Dalkara, and it's great. There's a Tepu, which is also great. They're good. They're good for different reasons. Asumi, I have found nothing like Asumi. Asumi is incredible. And I do think, like, as much as there's a lot of stuff I would like to cut out of Asumi, it is a part of what makes the series what it is. It's got this, like, incredibly ethical quality to it that I think is really good. It's got this, like, caretaking quality to it that's really good. Yeah, I would like to see it back. But if not, at the very least, Kawada, keep doing stuff. MamaYuyu, I want another series that is like MamaYuyu but good. That's a direct. I don't need another MamaYuyu. Kagurabachi, I need to actually read. That's my resolution for this year. I'm gonna read Kagurabachi for good or for ill. If I like it, I like it. If I don't like it, I don't like it. It's fine. I can't say anything about where we're at right now. I'm gonna just read it. We'll see where we are once I do that. Two and Ice, banger, absolute banger. You could start another arc right where it ended because it ended in a hard, like, this is just where we are right now. We didn't do a big speed up or anything. And I think that's fine. We set up where we were going to go next. I'm happy with it. But yeah, I would love more. And it's not even a, like, I would love another, a couple skating series. I want to on Iceback. Truly, it's so good. It kills me that you can't just do another run. Shadow Eliminators, garbage. I don't want anything for it. I don't want the mangaka to come back and do something else. It sucks. It's bad. Chojo, I do not read it. Dear Anemone, I think the mangaka, like, was it a writer-artist duo? Or was it one guy? That does change things, actually. Yeah, Rin Matsui. Yeah, Rin, I want you to do a better series. Truly, truly, truly. Like, there's nothing wrong with, like, it's a real 5.7. It's a real 5.7. There's a lot of cool ideas. There's a lot of cool arts. It just, it wasn't good. I think definitely get a writer to help out. I think a writer-artist duo situation might be what you need here. Because also, like, in manga and in comics, the artist's not just, like a hired gun. The artist is contributing to the story almost every single time. Dr. Stone is like a rare exception, but a lot of the time there's some back and forth. And I think, like, the Dear Anemone's mangaka has a lot of really cool ideas. A lot of stuff that should slap, but they don't have, all the rest. I just want someone to contribute all the rest, and I think they can nail it, so they could do something really good. Kyokuto Necromance, I don't know what to do, man. I hope this mangaka, I feel like, they've got a core there they can't move away from. There's something there that they really, really, really like. I think they need to just choose something that is, more unique. Honestly, they might be a good writer for a writer-artist duo. Like, even then, I think, they need someone who can build out their series a bit better from the start. Because they definitely have some stuff that they really like. They've got some good ideas, but they don't have the juice. They need the juice. Psych House, honestly, really no problems. I just hope mangaka has better luck next time. I think that, I hope the series manages to eventually, Psych House is going to be Psych House. It's going to, end there. I hope the mangaka has, another crack at it someday. They've got what it takes. I think Psych House just, didn't quite land, with the audience. But I think there was nothing wrong with it. Same with Murakami. Daikihira, keep going, keep going, keep going. Be crazier, be more insane. I think you can nail it. I don't know if you can run and jump. I think that's really it. But, I think any other magazine would love to have someone this insane. And if he, does a series in another magazine, I would 100% read it. He's got the kind of insanity I love. Kiyoshi, I mean, we'll see if I catch up off channel. But yeah, a lot of cool stuff. I think truly, it really depends. Kiyoshi's definitely an interesting scenario in that, they can escalate as much as possible in order to, hook people when they're, waning a little bit. But all the stuff that I think is really good is the more down-to-earth stuff, and it's a very tricky balance to pull off. So I don't know where Kiyoshi is right now. I'm hoping that they managed to hit a really good balance. They'll continue to do that. Hima-Ten, I think he needs to be canceled. Hima-Ten ain't good. For an actual real statement, I think, I think Himari just needs to be a better character. Again, she's just not a good hook. It is the most, what if I had the idea of writing a series where I was doing a Chinatsu, but I can't do Chinatsu? Ichi the Witch, I think we just need more Ichi the Witch, truly. If I had to describe what I'm missing with it, it's doing a lot of things that I would really want for it. The cast is small, and it's growing very slowly. The abilities are also growing relatively slowly. I don't need it to be super crazy. We already have the amplification magic, and we have, other elements. That's all we really need. We can combo them and whatnot way later on. But right now, a big part of Ichi's thing is also, not using magic, whereas every other witch is, I'm gonna just do a big magic barrage. So I think Ichi just really needs to do more hunting. Just give him more things to do. I'm a little worried with where we are right now in terms of, if he can hold his own in this situation, it's gonna bode pretty poorly for, weaker magics. I think what I want is a little more direction as well. Maybe something where it's you need to collect these, not these specific magics, but something where it's here's a layout. You don't have the right tools right now, so let's come up with ideas for tools. And then we will, you gotta deal with some human hater magics. Just by the nature of it, maybe you'll collect some of these tools along the way, but also we'll keep an ear out. And if there's something that you really want, something that is, very trap focused or whatnot, then we'll, we'll bend the rules and get you over there. But yeah, right now I'm not feeling that sense of progression that I think the series wants to create. This feeling of every time you get something, it's really exciting and cool. Right now it's kind of just arbitrary. It's just yeah, sure, he's got lightning, he's got ice. Doesn't really matter. mushrooms is an interesting idea, but, again, he doesn't have that one now, so we'll see. Shinobi Undercover, die. I don't want to see shit. I don't want Yodaka to do anything. Man, the series sucks. Hakutaku, I really, really want the journey to continue. Like, this is a real let him cook. I don't know what I would want them to focus on next. Maybe audio, honestly. Because, right now we're also doing a real, everyone's doing a bit of everything as we're building it out. It's less of a, it's not really adding something new as much as it is, okay, finally you can take some of the burden off of us. I guess Theo was, he did add something new in terms of the AR stuff. We didn't hire him for that, but we did get him, with that as a bonus. So similarly, it could just be as simple as, let's get, a better, graphic person, because, graphics are also something we've, been kind of just, ad hocing. It'd be nice to have an artist. But yeah, I'm thinking either graphics or audio, because right now we're also doing a game where, the graphics don't need to be super, super, super good. And, we're using a lot of real-world stuff. We might need a lawyer as well. Again, the scanning all the stuff in 3D, a lot of the shit's probably, is it legal? Are you allowed to do this? I don't know. We'll see. At the very least, I could see a situation where it's well, actually, we need to scrub some of this stuff, even if it, removes some of the magic of, oh, this is literally the thing. But yeah, if there's a thing I would like them to add in, it would be someone who does the audio. Because that's a whole world we haven't talked about at all. I think that'd be really, really cool and distinctive. And it's the kind of thing where, you might think, that's crazy. You can't do audio in manga, but, I've seen plenty of series that have done, some variant of, how do I get audio across in manga? And plus, a lot of, again, Hakutaku is about gameplay. How do you get gameplay across in manga? It's a lot of just describing shit. So I think it'd be fine to, to add more stuff where it's hard to really show this in the manga, but we can still, get across the feeling of what everyone is experiencing. And then Sidcraft, just keep going. I think right now we've got a good trio in terms of the girls. I don't really want more girls right now. And I do think, Sidcraft has an interesting, balance in that we can keep on adding we can keep on adding women that aren't the girls, if you understand what I mean. We can keep on adding in love interests because Sid's whole curse is just, he keeps on having love interests who turn out to be, murderers. So we can keep on doing ideas for girls, and we can even, the thief girl. Not the thief, not Chat Noir, or whatever her name was. But, the one before that, the one on the train. That's an example of a girl where, she could come back, she could be reoccurring. She doesn't have to be, a love interest or anything, but she could be reoccurring. I'd be fine with, characters like that cropping up. But yeah, in general, same with We Never Learn. I never really wanted another girl, but, it's fine. Let's keep going to different places. Let's keep doing different things. I fully trust not Yusei Matsui, Susui Sensei. Okay, that's everything. That's it. I added another half an hour onto a video that was already too long. Now we're done. Thank you all so very much for listening to this nonsense. I will see you in 2025. Bye for now. Yeah. Oh my god.